we're recording. I'm sorry.
We are, yeah. Time to put old Thanos away over there.
I don't know if you saw it or not, but I wasn't really actually prepared for how heavy that book is. I went to just kind of snatch it.
I was gonna say it's mighty bold of you to try to one-hand an omnibus like that.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm used to the Sanderson.
That's true.
And yeah, I mean, but I wasn't thinking about the ink.
Right.
They're so much heavier than a. No, yeah, I went over just to grab it, just snatch it, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, there can't be a Thanos book that that would allow itself to be wielded so easily.
Yeah, I mean, if I had the gauntlet,
right?
That's the point. The point. Hey, everybody.
What's up, homies?
If you're watching us anywhere that we're doing video, you got Spotify video yet or no?
I can work on that.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Okay.
I used to have it on my old show.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, if you're watching us anywhere that we got the video, hello, we're
What's
here.
Up?
New setup. And if you're not, then that's fine too. We still love you.
That's right.
You can hear this without having to look at our ugly mugs.
Yeah, or do if you're into that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. But I do have on a cool ass Camp Half Blood shirt. If you're on the audio, and if you're on the video, you can see it.
That's true.
But anyway, I'm really glad they're going to do another season
of that's from
Percy Jackson. Yeah,
another season. So I forgot that the first season's already out, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, so originally I think Disney was like, we're making all these changes. We're probably going to do it. It's a very expensive show. And then, as it turns out, they're going to do a second season, which is really good. Because it's, really faithful to, the author's actually involved in everything. And they're doing a similar thing with Eragon soon, so I really want all that shit to work out.
Because Percy Jackson had movies prior, right?
Yeah.
Or at least one?
Yeah, and they were okay. Yeah, a couple. I think they got to at least 3. I just thought about this. If the Eragon folks were smart, they would get Eragon out next year. House of the Dragon won't be on. People are going to want their dragon fixed.
True.
Then House of the Dragon Season 3 will come out.
Right.
And then Season 2 of Eragon could come out that next year. So we could just...
synchronicity. I like it.
And there'll actually be a bunch of dragon fights in that second season if we get it.
I feel like we throwing a little bit of shade, but it's...
yeah. Anyway, what I want to talk about, what I wanted to open up with tonight, the Borderlands movie. You seen this? You heard about this?
I have a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So it debuted today at a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That shit ain't funny, Caleb.
I think it's up to 3 or 4 now.
Oh.
And here's the thing. At first, I just thought, okay, they just slapped a brand on this. I don't like Borderlands anyway. I don't give a shit about it. So, and then I saw that Eli Roth is the director. And then I was like, well, the only way you could make me give a shit about this any less, they just did it, But then I started looking into it. And apparently... the original screenplay was by Craig Mazin of Chernobyl and Last of Us fame.
See, that right there blows my mind because I would have never pegged him for writing something like that.
When you pause there, that's not the best place to pause.
I said I would have never.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
He might be disappointed. You don't know.
I would have never thought that Craig Mazin of all people, because I don't know if you guys have seen Chernobyl or The Last of Us. Didn't we review both of those?
We did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
They're very serious.
They are extremely grim, extremely serious, extremely dark. And I remember when we reviewed Chernobyl, I actually I rewatched it. But I binged it when I rewatched it. I do not recommend anyone ever binge that show for any reason.
It will put you in a bad mood,
right.
For sure. I have binged the whole thing as well.
Oh.
It's such a good show. I have rewatched it several times, and it's never any easier to watch.
Right.
It's always there's just certain parts of that show, and I think it's because it's true. Mm-hmm. It's mostly a true story that, it hits so hard. But yeah. So
he originally wrote the screenplay for this Borderlands movie, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, and then they brought Eli Roth on to direct it, and Eli Roth went, I can do a better job than this. I'm going to make a bunch of changes. So we ended up with whatever this fucking catastrophe is. Apparently, the CGI is Ant-Man Quantumania level.
Really?
Awful. Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell. So I was just mindlessly scrolling earlier today, and I saw like 3 different articles about Borderlands and how it's not doing too well. Like one was from, and you guys know how I feel about IGN, but even this made me chuckle. IGN, I think, gave it a 3 out of 10, which is abysmal.
Oh.
And then I kept scrolling down, and I saw another article about the Rotten Tomatoes score that you mentioned, about how it was a 0. And I was like, is that possible? Like, imagine planting all those seeds, and then, like, 2 months later, you come out and there's still no tomatoes. You got 0 tomatoes.
They're all rotten.
All rotten, all of them. And so, but like you, I'm not a fan of Eli Roth. I am a fan of Borderlands, but even though we've gotten a string of pretty good video game adaptations, like, we haven't gotten enough of them for me to feel comfortable with another one releasing. That, and I thought that the casting was just all over the place and mostly not great for this movie. And
I mean, Jack Black as Claptrap is okay.
Yeah,
right.
I'm not mad at that.
Got you.
Yeah.
After that, it goes real downhill.
Real fucking quick.
Real quick. I could even see Cate Blanchett, you know, as Lilith, right?
Yeah.
But
she's probably the second best casting.
Everything after that is just, whether you like Kevin Hart or not, the miscast there is...
It's a pretty bad miscast.
It would be like if they cast him to play Luke Cage.
Right. And now I want to see that.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. hey, Disney, get it together. If for whatever reason you don't want to get Mike Colter back, that's fine. Get Kevin Hart to be Luke Cage.
We're going to see him in a couple weeks.
Oh, yeah, Mike Colter. I was like, where are we going to see Kevin Hart at?
Oh, yeah, he's not announced for Dragon Con, but Mike Colter is.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That's so dope. That and Vincent D'Onofrio.
Oh, man, yeah. We haven't talked since that.
We haven't.
Came out. I mean, that was like the bombshell.
Bruh.
I know they're not going to offer it, but I wish that they were selling like combo photos with him and Giancarlo.
Right. Oh,
right.
Fuck,
I just want them both like pointing a gun at me from like opposite directions,
I mean, that'd be amazing. I don't think there's no getting out of that situation.
No, you're done.
Yeah. I don't know what you did to get in that situation.
The best you could do is like offer to work for one of them,
That is the best case scenario, but then the other one would be like, oh, so this is how it is, huh?
Yeah, and you just start a war, basically.
Yeah. But no, Dragon Con, man, the lineup they have this year is insane.
Yeah.
Like, and I know a lot of you nerds out there are probably from this region. Some of you probably aren't from the Southeast, but still, highly recommend that you take the trip to one of the nerd meccas in Dragon Con.
It's unlike anything else, We talk about it often, and it's coming up in just a couple of weeks. I think this is probably the most star-studded lineup I've ever seen. I was there one year when Stan Lee was actually there. And
you got a picture with him, right? Or did you?
No picture. Yeah, I wasn't standing in that line. They weren't doing the epic photo ops back then.
Oh.
And his line, literally, he was on like the 3rd floor of one of the hotels. His line like wrapped around the inside of the building, went down the stairs, and wrapped all the way around the outside of the building.
Insane. Wasn't that like 2016?
No, it would have been maybe around 20. No, it wouldn't have been 2016 when Stan Lee was there. This would have been probably 2013.
Okay,
somewhere in there. So like Avengers 1 had come out, and it wouldn't have mattered. I mean,
it's still Stan Lee.
It could have been 1993. Right. It wouldn't have mattered. But this is like this is at the point where this isn't nerd shit anymore. It's pop culture now.
Right.
So
that's insane.
Because in 1993, I'm gonna tell you right now, no one would have fucking listened to this podcast. For 2 reasons. Number one, podcasts weren't a thing.
Right.
But also, if they were, this wouldn't have been one of them.
Yeah, no. I shudder to think in 93 what podcast would have been about. Hey, did you see last night's episode of Seinfeld?
Oh, God.
Was Seinfeld out in 90? Yeah, it was out in 93.
We'd be reviewing every weekly episode of Lois and Clark.
Oh,
Adventures of Lois
holy
and Clark.
shit! Yeah, we get negative listeners somehow.
Yeah.
You know, no disrespect to that show, but you know,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
We'd be waiting 6 months to review Batman Forever. Yeah.
Imagine waiting to talk about that movie.
Well, if we ever get that director's cut,
That's true.
yeah,
That's true. And
We
then,
technically would have waited like 30 years.
and then being like, okay, well, you know, this one wasn't great, but surely it'll get better next time.
Right.
And then in 2 years, we got to review Batman and Robin. That's a nightmare. I'm glad podcasts didn't exist back then.
We would have been there on opening night to see it. Anyway,
Yeah.
to segue us into the main course tonight, in terms of this Borderlands fiasco, I wanted to talk about a quote from George R. R. Martin. I'm getting deja vu right now. But anyway, George R. R. Martin had a quote, and I assume it's an audio quote because there's no way he typed this much. He doesn't write. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but he said, "Everywhere you look, there are more screenwriters and producers eager to take great stories and quote unquote make them their own. It doesn't seem to matter whether the source material was written by Stan Lee, Charles Dickens, Ian Fleming, Ronald Dahl, J.R.R. Tolkien, Mark Twain." He goes on and lists a bunch of people.
All right.
Or, well, anyone. No matter how major a writer it is, no matter how great the book, there always seems to be someone on hand who thinks he can do better, eager to take the story and quote-unquote improve on it. The book is the book, the film is the film, they will tell you, as if they were saying something profound, and then they make the story their own. They never make it better, though. 999 times out of 1,000, they make it worse.
Interesting.
And, I mean, that clearly happened with Borderlands.
Yeah.
But I have to agree with him here.
Same.
And it's not to say that, it almost sounds like George R. R. Martin is maybe wanting more, direct to screen adaptations. And I'm not saying that is always going to be ideal. Hell, Game of Thrones, at least in the first couple of seasons, made quite a few changes that were a vast improvement over the source material. Unfortunately, that had them thinking that they could continue to do that shit for the whole show.
The whole Borderlands fiasco just got me thinking about it's a tightrope that you have to walk when you're adapting something with the source material. Couple that with Martin's quote, and it's like, on one hand, from the business aspect, you have to tailor certain things for a casual audience so you can kind of ease them into it, like your first time doing butt stuff. And, so you got to make sure that everything is nice and ready. But then you also have to make sure that with the deviation that you're making, that you're not just throwing away the source material because you can, because at that point you lose what makes it special in the first place.
Right. And you might get shit on.
And you might get shit on.
Yeah.
In both cases.
To bring it back around to your analogy there. Yeah, I mean, that's it, right? Yeah. I mean, there is this whole concept where you have these Hollywood writers, and if you look at like what a Hollywood writer gets paid, it's insane compared to like an author. And it's wild because it's almost like there's no downside, right? Like if Brandon Sanderson had written Batman versus Superman, there wouldn't be 25 other novels after that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But what's the guy that wrote that? I can't think of it now.
I don't know who wrote that.
The guy that wrote it, he wrote a bunch of shit after that.
Was it David Goyer?
Yeah, David Goyer.
Okay.
Yeah, David S. Goyer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just like, it's like Hollywood writing. We talked about this before with like John Peters. In Hollywood, you just fail upwards.
Yeah.
And it's just strange to me that that's the case. Which is almost like M. Night Shyamalan. He's had some bad ones out there, but he draws money.
Right.
He's got like a following where it's like, he's like a Christopher Nolan thing. He hasn't made as much at the box office as Nolan, obviously, but it's like they flash his name up there, like this is who made this, and the rest of it's irrelevant. Like the movie gonna make some money. Right. It might be terrible, but it's still gonna make money, and so I get that. But like, you know, like this Borderlands movie, I guarantee you, it was already going to do terribly at the box office because it's coming out at like the worst time imaginable.
Yeah.
Deadpool and Wolverine is still kicking, folks. It's going to have crossed $1 billion by the time you hear this, probably.
Yeah, I was going to say, Borderlands is not going to dethrone Deadpool and Wolverine.
No, and that was before that's like if the reviews had been good.
Right.
You know? But like, it's already being panned as just absolutely, probably the worst movie of the year.
Oh.
So.
Imagine being the worst movie of the year and Kraven the Hunter comes out.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's true. They do still have Kraven the Hunter and Venom 3 to contend with. Hey, before we get into House of the Dragon Season 2, let me ask you, since we're on this topic, now that you've read the Mistborn trilogy, do you want to see a movie adaptation, like a trilogy?
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to it, and it's one of those scenarios where you kind of have to wonder: does this work better as a movie or a TV show?
Yeah,
you know,
it's problematic, right? Because it's almost like I feel like the first one would work better as a movie. I feel like the second book would work better as a TV show, and then I feel like the third one would work better as a movie.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah,
I get what you mean.
And
entirely.
we don't get that. You know, we're not going to get that option. It'll be one or the other.
Yeah, it'll be one or the other. And I mean, wow! Like I thoroughly enjoyed the entire trilogy, but I do see there being kind of a downside for making the second one into like a full feature length movie versus a TV show. Where you can, because there's a lot more minutia there for the second one.
It's also in the I feel like in a movie, there's a certain amount. I'm not saying you have to do this because Denis, doesn't. Denis Villeneuve, he doesn't feel this way,
right.
You know. But I feel like there's a certain level of hand holding that's expected in a movie versus a TV show.
My biggest fear for them, and again, like, this shouldn't be a fear of mine because I know if they did make a movie, Sanderson would be heavily involved in it, right?
Yeah, he refuses to give away creative control in any of it.
Which is great because as a comic book fan who has seen things overly dumbed down for movie adaptations, looking at you, Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings, heavy quotation marks on rings, but I would be afraid for the magic system if they were to adapt it into a movie. Simply because I can see executives being intimidated by it. Like, they will look at the magic system in the Mistborn series and view that as problematic for a casual audience. So they'll be like, well, instead of there being, maybe 16, let's tone it down to, say, a solid 8 and put heavy focus on 4.
Yeah.
And then even then, like, they'll put a lot of restrictions on it just to make it more digestible for casual audience from their point of view.
Yeah, and it's crazy because just changing that, you've already destroyed a fundamental, like, important Cosmere-wide thing if they were to make that one change.
Right.
There's something really important in the Cosmere about the number 16. We'll get into that. I don't know what it is. Like, there's just more examples of the number 16 out there. But
it's like that Jim Carrey movie, the number 23.
Number 23. Yeah. But we will be reviewing that soon, very soon. We have lots of things coming up. Before we get into this, I will say this Saturday, very, very excited. We are going to rank the entire MCU.
The whole shebang.
The whole damn thing.
51 different movies / television shows / specials. 51.
I actually finished. I've seen all but the last episode of Secret Invasion.
Okay. It might be better if you stop there and just in your mind's eye be like, this is what happened.
And I'll be honest, like, 5 episodes in, I'm like, actually, should I move this up a bit? But then I'm also like, how are they going to wrap this up in 25 minutes? And you already told me the finale is shite, and I've heard that from everyone, so I'm just I feel like there's something real bad coming. But
I tried to like the finale. I really wanted to.
I don't hate it. Like, in the first 5 episodes, I don't hate it. Like, it hasn't done anything to just directly shit on my intellect, in the first 5.
Yeah, I kind of wondered, man, was Nick Fury a Skrull all along? Is this the first time that we've ever seen the real Nick Fury? Because this guy's completely different from the Nick Fury we've seen.
Yeah, like at the end of like the first Avengers movie, did he just fuck off right then?
Yeah,
and he's been it's just been Talos ever since.
Right. Also, Nick Fury having a Skrull wife, or having a wife.
I knew you were gonna hate that.
Yeah, like what the goddamn fuck?
Yeah, I knew you were really gonna hate that. At least she's a spy. I mean,
does that make it better or worse?
It makes it better, I think, because if Nick Fury was gonna settle down with somebody, it would have to be someone who is in the business, and knows he's just gonna be like, oh well, I gotta fuck off to Mars next week. I'll be gone for like a year.
Nick Fury marrying a Skrull spy would be like me marrying Black Widow during the Cold War. Like, that shit don't make a whole lot of sense.
You would still do it though.
I would hit. All
right. Well, she did say that she specifically like hunted down someone that she could use specifically to lure him in. But
yeah.
I mean, this is not the
right. This ain't
the Secret Invasion review.
Yeah.
People are like, click when you turn this off. We're actually here tonight to talk about House of the Dragon Season 2.
I don't have air home button yet.
Now, in the true spirit of House of the Dragon Season 2, we should just spend all night telling you about how we're going to review it. How we plan to.
We're gonna edge you right to the very
end.
And then we're gonna be like, see you in 2 years.
Yeah.
And when we're actually review Season 2.
This is Season 2 of the review.
Right.
But you'll get the actual review in 2 years.
There you go. Yeah. Before we get too far into things, proper introductions are always in order.
That's true.
So, homies one and all, welcome back to a very special episode of the Superhero Homies podcast. My name is Quentin, and as always, I'm here with my illustrious co-host, the amazing Caleb.
Hey, what up? I am back. We're here to talk about this. I'm really excited for all the content we got this week. Man, we got this coming up. We talked about our the big damned MCU ranking.
Yes.
That's what we got coming up.
Multiple part episode, by the way, so...
Yeah, we're going to start that shit around like lunchtime on Saturday, and we're going to be in here for a long time.
Yes.
I'm glad your camera's plugged in.
Same.
I hope you got plenty of room on that SD card.
I cleared it, so we're good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be a time, folks.
Yeah.
It's going to be a time.
Super looking forward to that, man. I'm so curious to see your list. I kind of had to, once I completed my list, I realized I feel good about this. I'm going to put it away because if I look at it, I'm going to be like,
well,
yeah.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I made mine like a week ago.
Yeah.
About a week ago. And I didn't look at it again until last night.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, well, and I think I am going to do a few revisions because like I said, I did it before I watched Loki and Secret Invasion.
Right.
And I just ranked them where I thought they would end up.
Yeah.
And I gotta be honest, I think I moved Loki up one spot, but not much, And Secret Invasion, I might have to move it down depending on how bad the finale is.
And I'll be honest, because I shit on both of them quite a bit, but like, I guess Miles spoiler, neither one of them ended up as low as I thought they would be.
Oh yeah.
Once you look at the entirety of the MCU, it's like I still don't like certain things, but man, it's gonna rank higher than I thought it would.
Like, I gotta say, I liked Season 2 of Loki way more than Season 1. Have you finished it?
Yeah.
Did you like it more than Season 1 as well?
I mean, I guess, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, and here we are veering off again, but it's almost like Joker, right? It's like, you just called this something else.
Right, because, call it time shenanigans.
Yeah.
And this, it's fantastic.
The TVA show.
Yeah, the TVA show. Like that, it was...
Loki's a Skrull.
Loki's a Skrull. There we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just I really wish I had made the time to watch it as it came out.
Yeah, because us knowing how the Jonathan Majors
Yeah.
thing will end up,
Right.
it kind of it cheapens it. But it is good to know that they did plan to do some build for Kang. you know? They
Yeah.
did some. They just didn't put any in the movies.
Right. I mean, it was Ant-Man Quantumania, and they did have the post-credit scene where we saw Victor Timely.
Yeah.
You know, they played the little clip from Loki Season 2.
Right.
And then we got Loki Season 2, which is really gonna, I guess, set us up for
Yeah.
Kang Dynasty. But yeah, you know, in another timeline, we got it.
Apparently, and I read about this today, and I don't know how true this is. This could be bullshit, but apparently, Jonathan Majors shot footage for Agatha all along as Immortus, and they were going to have Immortus be the author of the Darkhold.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
That's a good twist on it.
Yeah.
That would have been the only reason for me to watch Agatha all along.
Which we're about to watch anyway.
Right.
Now, not featuring Immortus.
And now, yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like now, who are they going to replace that with someone else? Is it gonna be Mephisto?
Oh my god! If it's Mephisto, I'll pop just for that.
Oh, yeah.
just for no
sure.
other reason.
Right.
You know? I'll be like, this gets a minimum 5.
Yeah.
you know, solid 5 just for having Mephisto in it.
Let's stay in the spirit of House of the Dragon season 2 and edge the homies one more time before we talk about the show.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there will be dragons.
There will be
and battles.
yes, and bastards.
and bastards and walls and
Yep.
and we're gonna put the Winterfell set up for about a 9-second scene.
We're gonna give you guys a nice mud fight. All
Yep.
right, just gonna really hold you over.
Yeah.
How would you feel about in Secret Wars whenever they do that movie 2027? If you know they end up with the roster and they try to do the thing with the comic books where there's like a team versus another team, and you know the winner according to the Beyonder gets to live or whatever. So let's say they kind of adhere to that. How would you feel about them bringing back Thanos and putting him on the team of the heroes? Like he is the Nexus character from whatever universe they pluck him from.
Well, I want to say first and foremost, Kevin Feige has yet to confirm, but apparently Tom Holland is the Nexus character for
I've heard.
616.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, did our universe start to dwindle and then came back?
That's
You know?
meta as fuck.
You know, because you know he died, but yeah, it would make sense that things maybe came part of the scenes a bit, you know, for about 5 years or so. But yeah, I mean, I honestly am of the mindset of like, please don't touch Thanos. Like,
Okay.
I feel like Thanos got the best fucking arc that any comic book villain has ever gotten.
Yeah.
You know, because here's one thing you've never seen a comic book villain ever fucking get to do. Ever. He won.
Yeah.
He
and
got
retired.
to win. Yeah. You've never seen that shit.
Right.
Yeah. He got to Lord Ruler it up for a much shorter time. But he fucking retired, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He won. He did his shit.
He did exactly what he said he was going to do.
He did exactly what he said he was going to fucking
That
do.
man built the farm and started making tea and shit. You know, like he was just living life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Avengers came in there and gang banged that man during breakfast.
Yeah, during breakfast. That's fucked
Just
up.
busted all up in his
Right.
house. You know?
Yeah.
Fucking Hulk Buster suit coming up through the floor and shit.
Yeah, like this shit is unnecessary.
Yeah.
Entirely. That's probably against some kind of laws. If the Nova Corps still existed, I'm sure that'd be breaking some kind of
Had
laws.
Thanos not killed them all, they probably would have been like, hey. But yeah, I don't want it. I don't want them to. Now, had they not already done this with RDJ,
Yeah.
I would have been fine with like a Josh Brolin casting as like with like maybe maybe he's like a completely different Thanos that because there's two different races of the Titans, right? There's one that doesn't have the modifications and all that shit.
Yeah, Thanos he's a deviant, which is like a mutant.
But if there was like maybe a version of him where he's like the regular one, the regular Titans,
that would be. Oh no, that'd be horrendous because then he wouldn't be purple or with the shit on the chin.
Yeah.
He look like that's kind of nightmare fuel, like non-ugly Thanos. I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Is like you cast Josh Brolin as like that character. He meets up with the other characters and they're like, "What the fuck?" And he's just like, he's just like super good guy Thanos, like nice pool, but Thanos,
I mean, and just speaking of shit that we'll never see, but that would have been amazing. It would have been amazing if we had gotten Deadpool in the MCU a few years earlier and just see at least just like a 5-second montage or a glimpse of Deadpool trying to woo Lady Death and then Thanos just beating the shit out of Deadpool.
Well, at least if they do what I just said, we can have Deadpool show up and be like, "Guys, Cable's here. It's good. We're saved."
Holy shit!
Because he already made that joke in the in
Deadpool
1005. Is that the universe?
I think it is, right?
Yeah, they gave it a long ass number.
They did.
To be funny.
I'm surprised they didn't call it like 80085.
Yeah,
boobs.
Boobs universe. That would have been great. The only reason they didn't do that is Ryan Reynolds didn't think of it.
That's it. Yeah.
So, but how about that House of the Dragon though?
Yeah. So you guys are here about some Dargans.
Yeah, and we have talked about this before. It's the homie theory of relativity. You can judge how much we want to discuss something by how long the cold open is.
You're right.
And we are at 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So let's start off just at the beginning. What are your like overall thoughts on House of the Dragon season 2? And I want you to include also like what were your expectations going into season 2? Because you're not familiar with the book at all, right?
At all, no.
Okay.
I actually still, despite what I'm about to say, I really enjoyed a lot of season 2.
Yes.
There were a lot of really strong character moments. Episode 4 was tremendous.
Yes. Probably the best episode of the show, period.
I think there's a strong case for that. I mean, it was absolutely tremendous, and we see where the budget went, apparently. I mean, and again, some just excellent character moments for so many different characters. The pacing was the first thing I noticed that was definitely off from season 1. And that's even if you take out the time jump. The pacing is still, I think, much more superior and fast-paced in season 1. Whereas in season 2, it felt like they were kind of meandering at times. Looking at you, Damon, and Harrenhal.
Oh, my God.
And, while there were a lot of things, that even about the finale that I enjoyed, as soon as it ended, I found myself asking a couple of questions. One question was, is that really it? Another question was, I enjoyed the, what's his name? The Alan and Corlys scene.
Yes.
Was that juice worth the squeeze of watching this man say and do nothing the whole season, though?
Right.
I really enjoyed the Daemon and Rhaenyra scene. Was that worth 8 episodes of?
We're gonna talk at length about that.
Yeah,
because that shit is very meta. That whole thing.
Yeah. Okay. And there were just a lot of moments like that for me, where I really enjoyed where we ended up at with some of these characters. I did not like the journey to get there entirely, though.
Yeah, I have to say, episode 4, tremendous. Mm-hmm. Episode 7, I thought was probably the second best of the season.
Right.
And that was the sewing where we got to see the new Dragon Riders and everything.
Yeah.
I have to agree that the pacing on this season, I mean, it's basically like, when we found out, okay, they're going to shorten it to 8 episodes. It's like, okay, well, we got 10 in season 1. Mm-hmm. We're going to shorten it to 8. That means we're going to go balls to the wall.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be episode 1. We're going to get, you did what to my kid? You know?
Right.
Episode 2 is going to be like, let's fuck them up.
We getting right to it.
Right.
Yeah.
But we really didn't get that, man. I'll be honest, those first like 3 episodes were snail's pace.
They were.
You know, we got to see, you know, quite a few things happen. You know, we did get the scene of Rhaenyra and her dragon mourning.
Yeah.
You know, with Rhaenyra and Syrax, and you know,
Saw a little kid get beheaded.
Yep, we that was in the 2nd episode, I believe. Right?
It might have been first.
Was it the 1st episode? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it, you know, no, because that had to have been 2, I would imagine. But maybe it was the first one.
I don't remember.
It
was only 8 weeks ago.
You know, yeah. Either way, it's like it's hard to see those first 3 episodes as anything other than really just a blob of exposition. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean that there weren't good moments. You know, there was a lot of good moments with the White Worm. Is that what they call her?
Oh, the spy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was really good. You know, we got to see the scene with Jace in Winterfell for 10 seconds.
Right.
I'm like, you guys really, you cast Cregan Stark and put that fucking set together. I mean, it's a real castle, you know, but they still had to put the set up to shoot that one scene.
Right.
They even went to the wall.
Yeah.
For just some Game of Thrones nostalgia, I guess.
Don't we see some of the folks from the north marching at the end of this season, don't we? But we don't actually see.
They agreed to send the Greybeards at the very beginning of episode 1. And then somewhere in the middle of the season, I want to say around 5, we got the agreement with the Freys, which is an agreement with the Freys has never gone poorly for anyone.
Should have dinner with them sometime.
To let them cross the twins. You know, and then at the end we see all the different armies marching and everything. But
full spoilers, by the way.
Yeah, I mean full spoilers for all of Game of Thrones, all of House of the Dragon. We're not going to talk book spoilers though. So
I don't know shit.
He doesn't know. I don't want to spoil it for him. I do know, but I'm not going to say anything. But anyway, you know, we got all the armies marching at the end. Rather than them making an 8-episode season, it's like they just made the first 8 episodes of a 10-episode season.
That is exactly what it feels like. And
because I'll tell you, the finale as like a episode 8 or 9 would have been gangbusters.
Yeah. Because I think I said to you after the finale was over, I really enjoyed the episode, but it is not a good finale.
No, it's a terrible finale.
Yeah.
It may be the best instance I've ever seen of an episode of television where it's just like, yeah, in a vacuum, this is a great episode. There's nothing really wrong with it. But as what it really is, being a season finale, it's one of the worst things I've seen from them. And that is saying something.
Right. And, you know, like they... just taking a few steps back here, like I don't really know who to blame for it, but I ultimately point the finger at David Zaslav.
Yeah.
But it's because of... This has got to be because of them cutting costs and everything, right?
Right.
Like they started cutting costs a couple years. Like as soon as the merger happened, the Discovery WB Time Warner merger happened, they started cutting costs.
Right.
And they got rid of movies and TV shows and all these tax write-offs. And I can't believe they did this, but it seems to me like they said, "Hey, so we knew. I know we promised you guys. I don't know. I'm just throwing out a number." $110 million budget. Well, that's going to be like 70.
Yeah.
You know, and so you got to make do with that, cut 2 of these episodes, whatever. And like that's what it feels like is what happened. And so to a degree, I got to put the blame on Zaslav and the other executives. But on the other hand, if you are the team working on House of the Dragon Season 2 and you get that news, you have to pivot appropriately.
Yeah.
You can't just leave it like this and hope no one notices.
Yeah, Ryan Condal, who's the showrunner for season 2, has even defended the shit. You know, he's been like, well, you know, and this is something that he's talked about, and it's very clear the show's going that way. So I'm going to talk about it here, but the Battle of the Gullet is what's coming up. This is where the Triarchy is going to show up and fight the Valerian blockade. There's going to be dragons and boats. Doesn't go well for the fucking boats. Sometimes it also doesn't go well for the dragons. It typically doesn't go well for anyone. So that's going to happen. And he's like, yeah, well, we really need to give that time to breathe. That needs to be like the best thing we've ever done. And I'm like, okay, so if you're going to do that in the first half of season 3, which you're going to have to, is that going to be where all the budget goes? And then we're just going to...
Right.
We're just going to have monologues in empty rooms for the rest of the season?
Are we going to wind up in the same boat as with season 2, where we get kind of in terms of budget, a front-loaded first half, and then the second half of season 3 is it going to be just more lead up?
Yeah, I mean, I have to judge this the same way that I judge The Boys, right? And I feel very similarly to the way that The Boys went. It's not quite as egregious as The Boys,
right?
But it's like, other than a couple of pieces being moved on the chessboard, not a lot's happened.
Yeah.
Like, this story is about the Dance of the Dragons, which is this massive war that leaves the Targaryen family in ruins. And you mean to tell me that we are 18 episodes into a show that is going to have a total of 34 episodes? We are 18 episodes in, and it has not started yet.
Right.
And
you got to think, man, the way that season 1 ended, we were all thinking the shit is about to go down.
Yeah. Yeah. Like right now.
Right. And then we get to season 2. Okay, you know what? We were a little too hyped, but they gotta ease into it. Butt stuff. Gotta ease into it. Yeah. But then, like, by the end of it, I'm like, man, we're still trying to ease into this thing. Like, we should be going by now.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel about this, man. And there, to the people out there who have been defending this, because I haven't seen Ryan Condal his remarks on it yet, but I've seen other people online try to defend it, and they say, and their defense is sound and logic, where they say things did happen. I don't know what you guys were really watching, but a lot of things happened in this season. And on the micro, yes, a lot of things happened on the micro, but on the macro, no.
No, I agree. Yeah, I agree with you entirely. There's so much of, like, I feel like Rhaenyra coming out of the first season is the main protagonist, right?
Yeah.
You want her to win.
Yep.
You're solidly behind her. In this season, she does so much will she, won't she.
Right.
She goes from meandering about whether she wants to go to war or not. She goes on like a world tour of, shall I go to war over my throne they stole from me? Mm-hmm. Like, bitch, you must not be that mad about it, because...
Right.
Like, first, she goes back and forth with herself and her counsel about it in the council room. Then she leaves and goes to King's Landing and goes on about it with Alicent. Then she comes back and goes into the back room and goes on about it with Jace and then the White Worm, who she's also fucking.
Yeah.
Nobody was talking about how she also became a dragon rider. I guess nobody gave her due. But yeah, I mean, she's one of the best characters in the show, by the way. I really like her character.
So I do like her character, but I guess I need to see the other shoe drop. I think I'll like it, whatever that shoe is, but I need to know, like, is she doing what she does best? Like, is she playing both sides for her benefit right now?
Right.
Or is she really being true and loyal to Rhaenyra? I don't know at this point.
Yeah, and that's good. I mean, that means that she's being written well. That we don't know, but for that type of character. But even at the end, right, Rhaenyra's like, well, I got all these dragon riders. I just kind of hope that they would be like, never mind, we're sorry, and fuck off.
Right.
Aemon is not about that.
Yeah.
And, the other thing, too, is like, in this last episode, I think a lot of people really thought that we were going to see Helena get killed. And that's not anything to do with the book, but they have made some changes for the show. And, that scene where Aemon goes after her and he's like, I need you to saddle up. We're going. I'm just like, oh, he about to get her killed.
Right.
She's about to get on Dreamfire. They about to go out. She's about to get riggedy wrecked.
I don't know, dog. I got a feeling if she goes up against Ulf, she might have a good chance, a fighting chance.
I don't know, man. I think it's Silverwing.
Yeah, no, Silverwing, like, is his dragon more approachable, though, and docile compared to, like, the one that Hugh has?
No. Well, compared to Vermithor, yes. Yeah, Vermithor's an asshole, man. Him and Caraxes are kind of... I actually think at this point, Caraxes is probably a gentler dragon than Vermithor.
Holy shit.
Because Caraxes is like, Dad, when the fuck are we going to go do something, man? Mm-hmm. I've been over here gnawing on these pigs or whatever for a while. I ate like 4,000 pigs.
God
since we've been here. Yeah, we got to talk about Daemon and his whole deal too. But yeah, I mean the main story is just like, we get to the end. Here's the crazy thing: everyone seems to be preparing to go to war except Rhaenyra.
Right.
Like everyone's just like, we're at war, right? All right, we'll get these armies together, all this other shit, and Rhaenyra is still, and I like. I get it. Like your whole thing is you're hoping to avoid this massive, situation because essentially what they're doing here is bringing the nukes out.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the medieval version of a nuke is a dragon war.
Right.
I mean, we saw how it went for a very brief time at Rook's Rest. Everyone got rocked.
Yeah.
To the point that we originally were going to do this whole season at once, and then we were like, No. We need to talk about this now.
Right.
But then it's like, what happened really after that?
Exactly.
Well,
we found out that Aegon lived and his dick is split like a burst sausage.
Rhaenys was in the afterlife just giggling at that
right. But that's the thing. Was it Rhaenys or was it Aemon?
Oh, it was definitely Aemon, yeah. So here's the thing: do you think that Aemon, or not Aemon, Aegon is going to get a redemption arc? Do you think he's going to become sympathetic?
Man, I don't know. I really don't know because on one hand, it would be interesting to see that with him. I mean, like the only thing this guy had going for him was his dick, apparently. And that's gone now, But, I mean, so you got to think, like, he is in a position to be, like, a sympathetic character, I
mean, he could be the new Theon Greyjoy, literally.
Yeah, in so many ways, that can literally be him. But, you got to think, like, with him making that whole comment about his dick, I'm like, that was unnecessary. Unless you put into mind that, okay, his only male heir has been killed and I don't think he's going to be making no more.
Right, yeah.
Well, he does have a bunch of bastard kids, right? Like the fucking filed teeth and shit. Yeah. He can just go grab one of them. But.
Yeah. We putting bastards on dragons now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that, right? But yeah, the only downfall to the whole redemption arc is Clubfoot Larry.
Yeah.
Larys is... He is out for himself, and
he's the worst, Like whatever happens to that guy, it's justified. Like the only person below him on the ranking is fucking Kristen Cole.
Kristen Cole, he's depressed as fuck too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he deserves it, Like when I saw him sitting there all sad, I was like, yeah, it begins today, motherfucker.
But even like if Gwaine was like putting on the front, like he was gonna do something to him, you're like, no, don't do it, like, because what he's got coming is got to be way worse than this.
Yeah, don't cut his head off, like no. I need him to feel this shit,
right? And I'm trying to remember, Caleb, were they marching towards Harrenhal?
Yeah, so Harrenhal is gonna kind of be the. Like where it all, everybody's going to kind of be converging over it. Because the Riverlands, it's kind of like right there in the middle of everything. And it's like a very key point in this war. Kind of the same way that the gullet is very important, right? Like the Valerian fleet has the gullet blockaded, so they can't get merchant ships in and out of King's Landing.
I was, I was kind of wondering, like around episode, I think it was 7, when Aemon gave the order to go ahead and start marching towards Harrenhal.
Yeah.
I was like, man, so they're gonna start marching and get there and go to war all next episode? All right, fuck it, let's go.
Well, it's really funny, man, because at the end of episode 6, the way that they were setting shit up, I was like, oh man, next episode, they about to fuck with us. Yep. Like, this is gonna be some emotional shit next episode. And then, like, episode 7 came and went, and I was like, oh, my God, they're saving it all for the finale. Holy shit. How are they going to fit all this into the finale if they weren't?
Right.
There's, like, I can't say what they are because, obviously, they're massive spoilers. But, like, looking at it, I was like, okay, so we have thing A, thing B, and thing C that are going to happen this season. They have to, right? And I'm like, all right, well, maybe they're going to push one of them the next season. Maybe... Well, certainly they have to end the season on thing C, right? And they were just like, fuck it. They were like, we're not going to do any of that.
Bro, imagine, right, like, imagine watching Infinity War, and it ends when they're like, all right, let's all go and meet up in Wakanda. And you see them on the way to Wakanda.
And then
roll credits.
Yeah.
You're like, that's a weird spot to end this movie. I don't know if I would have done that.
The after credit scene is Thanos arriving on Titan.
Right.
and they just freaking you got Doctor Strange. He's like, oh yeah, you look much more like a Thanos.
Yeah, and that's
the post credits.
Right.
Like, motherfucker, what?
It's like ending season 1 of House of the Dragon with Rhaenyra sending out Luke and Jace, like, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and send you guys out, and then we just see them fight on dragons.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, like some damn How to Tame Your Dragon shit. Yeah. Let me ask you, because it is Homie Rule number 1, were there any, did you see any, like, character integrity issues with any of the characters?
I can't really say that I noticed any blatant breaking of rule number 1 with character integrity. I'll just say that I've seen what I can assume were characters under extreme stress make odd decisions. And some of that I'm putting on blinders and trying to defend, but some of that I think they just wanted certain moments to happen and tried to force. Like, I've told you about how I feel about Rhaenyra sneaking into King's Landing and speaking with Alicent.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the moment is cool, but man, like, this is such a, like, for me, it ranks up there and so cool to see, but so fucking silly. It's along the lines of, like, the Suicide Squad episodes of Game of Thrones, where they're like, let's go get a White Walker and bring it back to...
Yeah, let's go have the Westeros Avengers north of the wall on this week's episode of Game of Thrones.
Right.
Yeah, it's like that. There's also, they did it twice.
Yeah.
They had Alicent sneak back in the last episode.
Yeah, and we really didn't even get to see thoroughly, at least we saw thoroughly how Rhaenyra got into King's Landing. I'm not saying that I like it, but at least we saw
more
of it.
Honestly, if Rhaenyra, like, it's not the same, right? Because, like, at this point, Alicent is nobody, right?
Sure.
Rhaenyra could capture her. They could ransom her against the High Tower. Sure, Otto's not going to want his daughter getting killed. Which... The goddamn Blade cameo level bullshit with him, where they're just like, here's Otto Hightower.
That was another show I was waiting to drop.
He looks like he had a rough night. Roll credits.
Bruh.
What the fuck?
I was like, watching the finale, I was like, okay, all right, it's kind of slow right now, but man, fucking Otto's going to come back, and then we're really going to see what takes it. Because he's going to come back with something. He's not coming back with nothing. Yeah. And then fucking Otto's like, hey, dog, I got locked up.
Yeah. Well, the whole time we saw Thailand with the Triarchy, which I did love those scenes.
Yeah.
But I was like, if you were gonna cut something, cut this.
It would have been
just
this.
have Otto show up with them.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing.
That's
is like
the thing.
he has been doing this the whole time.
Right.
Because he's a fucking genius. He went and got the Triarchy's fleet. You don't have to explain any of that shit. He
Right.
just shows up with them. You could have gave us our goddamn battle.
Yeah. That would have been amazing.
Yeah.
Because everybody's been wondering since he left, when is Otto going to come back and what's he going to come back with?
Yeah.
And the answer is you're wrong and nothing.
Because it's like, I mean, these scenes, like I said, if we got a 10-episode season that was fulfilling, these scenes are great.
Right.
This is the first time we've ever actually like seen how the Triarchy works. When we saw the crab feeder or whatever, we thought they were all just weird motherfuckers. You know?
I mean, they kind of are.
I mean, they are kind of, but you know, it kind of goes with other things we've seen of the free cities. You know? They're a little more barbaric and whatnot, uncivilized. But yeah, man, I think if there's a character integrity issue with anybody, it's probably Jace.
How his weird turn.
Jace just kind of went from who he was in season 1, kind of this, you know, the loyal older son, to just being this kind of angsty brat. And, you know, he's a teenager, right? So maybe that's got something to do with it. And, like, things do keep not going their way. But, like, if he's going to be bitchy at his mom about something, maybe make it, okay, maybe we should do something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you know, man, the stuff with Jace, right, is it's a little disheartening because gotta be honest, man. Like, and I'm not trying to make any kind of statement with this message, guys. So don't take it as such. There are not a lot of male characters to root for in this show.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of characters in general to root for in this show. But you know, I look at Jace and I was like, okay, he is the true blue baby face, you know, in this TV show. And man, I really want to see this kid pull through and kind of grow up into a man in this show. And as soon as there's like the slightest bit of anything that could be considered competition, bro, he folds like a fucking cardboard table.
Oh yeah.
And he just goes off the deep end. And I will say this, I don't like how he just kind of flipped like that, but I do like his interactions with Ulf, because Ulf is like everything that this kid was afraid would happen, right?
Right.
You know, it's like, because Ulf just kind of, he's kind of like the stand-in for what I assume all the highborn people look down at peasants to be. You know what I mean? Like, oh, they're rude and they're nasty and they're,
Hugh is probably the best example, right, of a like really good like male protagonist in this show.
That's true. Yeah, Hugh is. Yeah, that is true.
I mean, and people are rooting for Damon, but he's a toxic piece of shit. You
know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Damon's on the straight and narrow for now. You know.
The thing about Damon is it's like Damon is. This character exists in basically all of your... I'm also not trying to make a statement with this, but it's going to seem a lot more like I am than what you said. Pretty much all of the fucking fairy bullshit smut novels have this character where it's like... This is, you know, and you have the young girl, and then you have the fucking dark, twisted warrior, broody guy who's like 1,000 years old. He's only like 50 or whatever.
Right.
And, you know, he's significantly older than the main character. And for some reason, they, you know, fall in love or whatever. And it's always completely unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then there's always this moment, like we got in the finale, where they're like, no, I'm with you. Like, I got you. I was just being an asshole because the plot demanded it.
Right.
The problem with, you know, I get, like, I really enjoyed all the stuff at Harrenhal where it's like it's cursed, right? We heard about that in Game of Thrones, but we never really got to see, like, the curse. Like, and I really love the whole thing about, like, the Weirwood orchard being cut down and all that stuff. And that was all cool. I liked Alice Rivers a lot. But this whole, you know, he touches the weirwood tree and, like, make no mistake about it, like, Bran Stark did all that shit.
Okay.
Right? I mean,
that's kind of
according to the show's mythology.
That was kind of my takeaway from it, but I wanted to get your expert opinion to see if like there was maybe something else I missed.
Well, the Targaryen, that one of the shots in the vision he gets here is it's a younger Targaryen man, and that is Brendan Rivers.
Okay.
Who is, he is a Targaryen, well, bastard, obviously. And he ends up becoming the Three-Eyed Raven. He's the old man that Bran visits.
Okay. Yeah.
That's got the tree all growing through him and everything. And he's the one that trains Bran. So that's him.
Gotcha.
So it was interesting to get to see him. So maybe he's actually doing this because it's, I mean, according to the Three-Eyed Raven, like, they're kind of omniscient as far as time is concerned.
Right.
It's irrelevant to them, so they can kind of use the trees to go back and forth. But either way, it doesn't matter who sent him this vision. I think it's probably Bran manipulating his way onto the fucking throne. But
I wonder if anyone's figured that out yet. You know,
right? Yeah, I mean,
and what do you do about it?
Yeah, I mean, because you can just go change it.
Yeah,
you know. But it's like having Dr. Manhattan in your story.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
It's like, what are you gonna do? I mean,
yeah.
If Dr. Manhattan made himself the president, okay.
Well, all right.
What are you going to do? Oh, well, Dr. Manhattan, I found out that you did this. Give me 1 second. And then he just goes back to when you were born and just deletes you.
Yeah, just erases you.
Yeah. And then he just goes back to whatever the fuck he was doing. You know what I mean? And it's not like, it's not going to be some fucking hot tub time machine, butterfly effect bullshit.
Yeah, no.
It's not like he's going to go back, kill you, and then it's going to change his future in some crazy ass way. No. He can see it all at once.
Yeah.
So he can go to the exact point in time to delete you with like the least amount of effects on the timeline.
Right.
And doesn't even have to think about it.
Yeah. Just for shits and giggles.
As a matter of fact, he's already wondering, when you come to confront him, he's already wondering, like, why am I able to see this alternate timeline that doesn't have this dude in it?
Yeah.
Because he's already done the thing.
He's already done the thing.
Yeah.
It's already written.
Yeah. All he's doing is merging that shit into the main branch, baby. That's it.
Right.
But either way, not to get into Three-Eyed Raven metaphysics here, but that whole vision, man, it's like, it's almost like they don't understand how fucking awful the end of Game of Thrones is.
Right. See, I mentioned this when we did part 1 in relation to the cat's paw dagger, and also when Rhaenyra was telling Jace about like the Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah.
And like the music swells and like there's just like this orchestra playing, and I'm like, this shit ain't as dope as like.
Yeah. And it was just way more so here because they're almost, you know, they're showing, you know, Dany, and there's, you know, all this hint that either she was the, whether you think that she's the prince that was promised, because there definitely is verbiage in there where they talk about the Valyrian word for prince is not gender specific, so it could mean prince or princess. Whether you think it's Dany or Jon, it doesn't fucking matter. They both ended up sucking ass. Completely. Like, Jon Snow got brought back to life for nothing.
Yeah.
And then Dany went completely fucking mad.
Like, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole.
For no reason.
It was for no reason.
And it didn't make any fucking sense. Yeah. And like, it's almost like they don't grasp how much the fandom is just like, watching Game of Thrones because they're like, or they're watching House of the Dragon because they're like, this is far enough removed from that I can enjoy it. I just want to see some dragons fight each other.
Yep.
Whereas like, and then they just keep being like, hey, you remember when we did that thing? You remember that? And we're like, please don't mention it. Actually,
I haven't seen this show yet, so hopefully I'm not making a terrible prophecy, but it would be like if the Acolyte found a way to tie itself into the Skywalkers, you know?
I tried so hard to cover up my face. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It really is not. They don't do it directly. Okay.
Okay.
But there's some things. I totally thought you were going to go somewhere else with it, you know? It'd be kind of like if, you know, me and you and a couple of the, like all the homies, let's just say we had a yearly Vegas trip planned.
Yeah.
We always go out there and just balls out. Pretty much what we actually do at Dragon Con.
Right.
But then at one of those Vegas trips, you happen to shit yourself. And then every year when we go after that, I have to bring it up, you know? And I would.
Yeah, but you would.
I would, yeah. But I'm just saying, you know, you'd be like, I really would like to enjoy this again without you having to remind me about the time I shit myself.
Yeah.
You know? And that's kind of what's happening with this show. It's just like, but instead, you're like, hey, guys, you remember that time I shit myself? That's pretty much what they're doing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, you know, we understand. You guys gave us fucking 6 excellent seasons of television.
Yes.
60 fucking hours of some of the best television to ever exist.
Right.
You only spent like a year fucking it up real bad, you know? And we're not going to forgive you for that, but we'll still hang out with you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to see what the viewership numbers are like for season 2 because season 1 did so tremendously well.
I want to see the max subscription numbers next month.
Oh,
because I canceled mine like that night.
Oh man, shit.
And here's the thing, man, is it's like, you know, obviously they're trying to drag it out. They have announced that like season 4 is going to be the end.
Yeah,
but they got this Dunk and Egg show coming out, Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I'm interested in that. But I kind of want to hate it now because you're like, oh, well, we got this other spinoff coming out. You just showed me a 9-hour trailer for season 3 of
That's exactly what this was, right?
You know?
And, you know, I heard about them coming up with another series. And on one hand, I'm super stoked to see what they do. On the other hand, I'm like, where'd the money for this show come from since you obviously cut budget for House of the Dragon?
Yeah, and this is going to be like about 100 years. Well, about... probably about 70 years before Dany's born.
Okay.
The Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Aemon, who is the maester, the old blind guy at the Night's Watch, he'll be like a squire.
Okay.
During this.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Man,
they're going to have to present that show in a way that just won't completely mind fuck the casual viewers. Like, when is this?
Yeah.
You know, because like people can keep up with 2 time periods. You throw a third one in there, and it's just going to wreck people.
Yeah, because it will be like the Mad King's dad will be king.
So it's still before the Mad King.
Maybe his grandfather. Oh, yeah, it'd definitely be before Aerys, yeah.
Gotcha.
I actually think it's probably his grandfather. Is probably king at this point in time. Because, you know, it's for life, so you're the king until you old as fuck.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, there's probably either no dragons or, like, you know, the dragons don't get any bigger than, like, turkeys, you know?
It's probably some good eating.
I don't know. It's probably really scaly. And,
I mean, you know.
It probably cooks itself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, you know, if you shoot one of these motherfuckers, they explode. We found that out.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Every dragon you kill is smoke dragon. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, I don't know. Like, right now I'm just mad at them, you know? They don't have Euphoria coming out. I mean, they keep saying, like, they haven't given us a season to tell us that there's going to be a 3rd season of Euphoria, but they do keep being like, yeah, we're going to have it. But I watched an interview with Hunter Schafer from like the other day, and she was like, we have no idea when we're going back.
God damn.
And I'm just like, well, that shit ain't coming out next year then.
Yeah, I don't know why I assumed they were shooting now, but I guess that was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, either that or she's just a great liar.
They are all great liars. I posted a meme about that the other day.
Yeah, with Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, and, Daphne Keane and Patrick Stewart. They were all fucking lying to us. I'm not gonna be in the movie.
Also, we are conveniently recording this 2 weeks out from Deadpool and Wolverine, so the no spoilers veil is lifted, bitches. But yeah, she confirmed that her character in that is not a variant, that is the original. Which I was like, that kind of makes sense anyway. I mean,
yeah, because what happened to that universe? I probably shouldn't have thought about it.
You done X-23 yourself.
I have, yeah. For sure though, they got to bring her back in the MCU.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I would be so livid if they don't, because number one, she's a tremendous actress. Like, I really enjoy her portrayal of the character. Mm-hmm. Also, she is fine than a motherfucker.
See, it's so you say all the shit that I feel like I can't. You know what I mean? Like I don't. It wasn't that long ago. You was just.
She's like 23.
I know, but you was just. Yeah. I don't know. Don't know.
As long as you don't watch Logan, it's fine.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
I watched that movie a lot.
Well, when you watch the movie, you got to give yourself a good 60 days. But at Comic-Con, man, she was.
Oh, shit.
What's crazy is like she's not Hispanic at all.
I didn't think so.
Yeah, she's like British.
Is she?
Or Australian, one of the two. She's got that accent.
Oh, okay.
She's got that accent where it's like she could be either, like kind of like 11. What's
Millie Bobby Brown?
Yeah.
She straight up sounds like she's from Britain.
Yeah, but she's got that little bit of like kind of. There's probably a specific area of Britain, Yeah, they're probably like, oh, well, that's the Rexford accent. Get the fuck out of here.
Right. Yeah. When does Stranger Things coming back? Speaking of Millie,
they say next year.
Okay.
All the cast will be 35.
Oh shit.
What's the guy Regardian? What's his name? David Harbour. He'll be playing the Three-Eyed Raven, the original.
Oh shit. Goddamn.
Yeah, that's supposedly we're gonna get the finale of that next year. Maybe that's why all these TV shows are like, all right, 2026. Like nobody wants to compete with. I mean, because obviously, unless somebody just comes out of the woodwork, right? Stranger Things is gonna clean up at the Emmys next year. Last of Us Part 2, is that coming out this year or next year?
I think that's next year.
Yeah,
I hope it's next year. Like I'm not ready for that, and not for the same reason that the fans aren't ready for it. I'm not ready for it because I think it's garbage.
This might be the first time ever that something comes out and the adaptation is amazing, and we fucking hate it.
Right?
Like they're like. I mean, if you look at the trailer, like it's amazing what Craig Mazin and them have done. Like they literally have taken things that are in that game, and it's like scene for scene, and you're just like, this is incredible. And then you're like, but this game is fucking trash.
Right.
This is the one time we wanted you to make significant changes.
Yeah. I actually really want you guys just throw the screenplay out the fucking window and just be like, let's freeball this.
Maybe is it too late for Eli Roth to take over?
Right.
Season 2.
Yeah.
They already built all the sets.
Yeah, come on. Yeah,
it'll still look good.
Right. Yeah, no major spoilers, obviously, but like when I saw like that little teaser trailer.
That game is old enough to have been remade.
That's true. It has been remade, actually. They did a fucking PS5 upgrade.
If the game is old enough to get a remake, fuck it.
That's true. Yeah, when I saw Pedro Pascal in the trailer, I was like, this must be from episode 1.
You know what I really think is I do think they are going to draw that out. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to have that at the end of this season. I think it's going to be all at the end.
Are they going to do a third season of this?
Oh yeah, they're already planning for more seasons. Like Craig Mazin, or no, this was Neil Druckmann. It was like he said it's going to be at least 3 seasons, maybe 4.
And he's involved in all of them.
And that's like 4 years from now, right? And if not more, they're going to come out with a part 3 before then.
They might.
I mean, I don't know what the fuck you would do with a part 3. They Last Jedi themselves in part 2.
Yeah, in my mind, it's like, if there's a Last of Us part 3, like, it's got to be about different characters. Can it please be about
different characters?
Yeah, some characters we don't know anything about? That would be the best, actually.
Completely different part of the world.
Yep.
Put it in Europe or something.
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't need to see. We don't need to be out in out with Joel and Ellie. Well, clearly not with Joel. We don't. We don't need to be out with Ellie and fucking Swozilla, Abby, whatever. Abby. Oh. Shit.
God damn it.
Okay, yeah. Now I've made myself all fucking mad.
Yeah.
And now we gotta go back to talking about House of the Dragon, which that's not gonna make me feel too much better.
So I want to talk about Rhaena's arc. She actually got more screen time than Baela this season. Like
she did.
Like I actually really love Baela. She's probably one of my favorite characters, and they just keep shoving her off the fucking screen.
They do. Like Baela, like she
had that one great moment with her dad,
or with the granddad.
Yes, with her granddad. Daemon's her dad, but where with Corlys, where he was like, "I want to make you my heir," and she was like, "I'm fire and blood."
Yeah,
you know, and I love that.
Be of salt and sea. Yeah.
Great fucking line.
The thing about Baela, right, is I'm sure that the show writers didn't intend for this to happen to her, but they have effectively made her the magical, mystical Negro of the show. Like, for those you don't know, the magical, mystical Negro is the character that is, as you guessed it, black. that provides.
But can you imagine if they were?
Right. And this character provides wise, sagely advice to a character who is lost or in need of guidance. You know, so yes, to a degree, Lucius Fox was that to a degree, but thankfully Alfred filled in most of that. So there wasn't a whole lot of magical, mystical Negroing in the Dark Knight trilogy. But you know, in the case of this show, like Baela, she does that for Rhaenyra.
Yep.
She does that for Jace. She does that for Corlys. And I'm like, she is full of sagely wisdom. And then they get her the fuck off the screen.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, and we do know that you have a badass dragon. And you're very experienced writer. They do give her that one scene where she almost burns fucking Kristen Cole.
That's
that
true.
Scene was dope.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you guys know she's here, yeah? Like,
right. Imagine training a stunt dragon for that scene. That must have been wild.
But then we've got Rhaena, who, you know, she gets sent off to the Vale.
Yeah.
The Eyrie specifically with, and ultimately she's going to go to Pentos. And she has Dany's dragon eggs.
Yeah.
Very cool, you know. Kind of got a little and I didn't mind that, you know. That scene didn't make me go, oh man, I fucking hate this shit, because, like, obviously we kind of all wanted to know where those eggs came from. You know, everybody's kind of always been like, well, fucking a dragon egg is not some shit that, you know, you see how closely guarded the concept, like, most people in Westeros don't know anything about a dragon.
Yeah.
Other than that, it'll kill you.
Right.
Like, and as we kind of learn in this is kind of the Wizard of Oz kind of man behind the curtain shit that the Targaryens pulled. Like, their right to rule is based on the fact that they have these dragons.
Yeah.
And no one understands how, like, it to them, it's magic, motherfuckers. Like, that's how they are. They're like, this is our divine right to rule, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But in reality, I mean, it's literally just a matter of the dragons like them.
Yeah.
Does that have something to do with their Valyrian blood? Obviously, to an extent. But since we're talking about Rhaena, they actually, in the book, Rhaena has not shit to do. She's literally a glorified fucking traveling babysitter.
Oh, really?
She has not shit to do. And kind of a lot of that has to do with the fact that the way that these are written, the book is written from the standpoint of this is a maester that is documenting the history.
Yeah.
And so certain things, for good or bad, like, you know, Rhaena visiting King's Landing.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have fucking been in there because
how would he know?
If it were in there, she'd be dead.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, the in that story, like, they're not going to know a lot about what she's doing, you know, because she's off leaving Westeros, going to Pentos with the children at this point. they actually have combined her, it seems, and it's almost guaranteed now, with another character called Nettles. And Nettles is actually a kind of a fan favorite from the...
I forgot my phone's in my pocket. That motherfucker vibrated.
Oh, okay.
Scared
I was
the
like,
shit
you
out
get
of
stung
me.
by something?
I thought I did. I did not.
It's hold on, it's the Dragon Con chat, and it's a photograph. Who do they add?
Oh, shit.
Live on air.
Live on there. Who we got? Bruh, what?
I'm so sorry for everyone's ears,
Yo,
but
let me see.
I'm a little shook.
Oh,
Well, remember earlier when we
Shit.
said that the biggest bombshell they were going to drop was Vincent D'Onofrio?
holy shit.
Yeah, so Elijah Wood, Dominic Monaghan, and Billy Boyd are all coming to Dragon Con. I guess they couldn't get Sean Astin. Like, is
I
he
guess
busy?
not.
Is like daughter getting married or something?
Oh, damn. That's insanity. Damn, so I mean, I guess Elijah must have had a damn good time last year.
Yeah. yeah.
Coming back and bringing some friends with him. That's dope as fuck. This might be like... This might be the busiest Dragon Con.
I'm about to be the brokest.
Right. Yeah, oh shit, dog. Like at this point,
Yeah, anyway.
yeah, sacrifices will have to be made.
Speaking of dragons,
Yeah.
Nettles is a character who supposedly has no Valyrian blood, at least not that we know of in the book. And she's just like this random, I think like basically like poor girl from the Vale, and she ends up bonding with Sheepstealer.
Okay. Yeah. So the same dragon that.
Yeah, and so they've kind of combined Rhaena's character with her. So they're gonna kind of give her Nettles' plotline. Sheepstealer is that fucking homeless ass looking dragon.
Yeah, he look homeless.
that she's gonna bond with, and Nettles is kind of a scruffy kind of character. There's some kind of her hooking up with Daemon type stuff that happens in the book. Really, really hope that does not. She doesn't get that aspect of it, because
That'd be weird in so many ways. Like even for Targaryens, that's too much.
Yeah. I mean, he is married to his niece.
I mean, yeah,
but that's at least slightly different.
We've seen that in Alabama. Shout out to the Alabama homies out there. I know y'all not the ones fucking each other just like that.
Y'all got dragons? Is that why you do it?
I was gonna ask you something. I was about to ask you. It's gonna be about Rhaena. Well, let me go ahead and ask you this while my brain is rebooting.
Yeah, sorry about that, folks.
In the books, do they draw a hard line as to yes, you definitely have to have Targaryen blood in order to
Valyrian
blood. Yeah. In order to ride a dragon, or is that like? Because I watched the show and I'm like, I can see why in a society like this people would think that that's the case, but it may just be a matter of association and proper training and whatnot.
George R.R. Martin has said, and this is gonna draw a bunch of fucking laughs too, that they're gonna explain it in Winds of Winter.
That's the perfect answer.
Kind of like. So here's the real question: like, will we get the next season of House of the Dragon or Winds of Winter? Like, what'll come out first? What's gonna blue balls people the most? I'm not reading that fucking book. I'll Google read it. No, I don't care. I don't care. I know that he has spent the last fucking decade revising that shit and trying to write his way out of the fucking hole he dug himself. Yeah. And I just don't care. People online are like, can't wait for Brandon Sanderson to finish the story after he dies or whatever. Brandon has already said he won't do it.
Oh,
really? He doesn't want to write grimdark. He's tried. It's not his thing.
I got you. Yeah.
I don't know. I might pick it up. I read the first 5, but
right.
This motherfucker's like still introducing new characters and shit.
God damn.
So like, if Winds of Winter ever comes out, Dream of Spring is definitely never fucking coming out.
Yeah.
Like, it took him, like, literally, A Dance with Dragons came out before season 1 of Game of Thrones.
shit.
It's been like 11, 12 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe more at this point. Ridiculousness. But anyway, my understanding of it is that a dragon just has to bond with you, like you, you know, and you having Valyrian blood tracks with that to an extent. Okay. I don't know if it's because, like, my guess is that there was some kind of magic in Old Valyria, because in Old Valyria there were many Dragon Lord families.
Yeah.
The Targaryens weren't rulers, actually. They were basically like your middle class type, you know. And then, you know, as we know, Aegon the Conqueror had actually, I don't think he's actually the one that had the vision. I think it was his sister, and said, hey, look, we need to get the fuck out of here. And, so it was his sister that foresaw the doom. He had the green seeing, the vision of the Battle of Fire, of the Song of Fire and Ice. You know, so that was kind of that foresight, that green sight, that was their thing. And that's how they were able to escape the doom. I don't know if there's some kind of magic in the Valyrian blood that made it more likely for the dragons to bond them. Like, if it's a thing where, like, you know, a dragon bonded with, like, a random fucking guy, and they were like, oh, shit, this is a thing that could happen? We thought they would just eat us.
Right.
You know, and then somebody devised or figured out some sort of magic that made it, you know, much more of a sure thing. Who knows? You know, that's my thought on it.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, that tracks. And I mean, I guess we'll just have to wait till, you know, George finishes his writing, and then we'll give the answer.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. You will have probably finished the entire Cosmere before that book comes out.
Holy shit.
Brandon will probably have finished the entire Cosmere when that book comes out. Shit.
You know, the jokes about George R.R. Martin only gets funnier as time goes on.
Right, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They age like wine.
Yeah. Have I told you the joke where Brandon calls his house?
No.
Yeah, so the joke goes, Brandon Sanderson calls George R.R. Martin on the phone. Or no, I'm sorry. It's the other way around. I'm already fucked the joke up. If you have to explain it, we can cut this, right?
Yeah.
Sure. So anyway, George R.R. Martin calls Brandon Sanderson, right, on the phone. Brandon Sanderson's wife picks up. And George's like, oh, hey, you know, it's George R.R. Martin. I just wanted to talk to Brandon. Is he available? And Brandon Sanderson's wife says, I'm sorry, George. You know, he's going to be a while. He's actually writing his next book. And George says, don't worry, I'll wait.
That's a good one.
Now that I got it right.
It would have been funnier also the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, yeah.
If someone's like, you know.
He would have just wrote a book while he was on hold for George. You know?
Yeah. And George's like, finish the chapter. You know?
Yeah. There's also it's a joke, him and Richard, what's it? Richard. Is it Richard Dreyfuss? That's somebody else.
Not Richard Dreyfuss.
No, that's someone else. Yeah. What's his name? Shit. I gotta look it up now because it's gonna bother me. He writes the Kingkiller Chronicles.
Some nice alliteration.
It is, yeah. They're actually really good. Patrick Rothfuss. It's the same.
Oh, okay.
Kind of. You know,
I was like,
it rolls off the tongue the same way.
That's almost
same cadence.
That's almost a Kevinism, but you explained your way out of it. So,
yeah. I mean, it is. You know, it's
yeah.
You know, sibyllically, it's very. Anyway, it's the same cadence.
Sure.
You know? Yeah. So there's also a joke that Patrick Rothfuss, George R.R. Martin, and Brandon Sanderson all have an agreement that every time they publish a book, they'll shave their beards. And Patrick Rothfuss has like the ZZ Top.
Oh,
kinda,
shit.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I'll give you that one too.
Yeah. So
that's a good one.
Yeah. But anyway, anybody else who want to talk? We didn't really talk about Daemon's kind of arc, but I mean, the way it ends, you know, it's like it's like you said earlier. Is the payoff like? Is the juice worth the squeeze on it?
And for me, like, as much as I enjoyed the payoff, I mean, there's a lot of fluff, I think, in some of those Harrenhal scenes.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could have done with about half of them.
Yeah,
right.
Because they started to get exhausting after a while, you know.
Especially when you're like, bro, there's a fucking war.
Yeah, there's outside. A war, and also like how drugged are you that the person sticking the needle in your arm you don't pay any attention to, and you accuse the person, you know, who's trying to be hospitable.
Yeah. I love that guy. I can't think. I can't remember what his name is.
Tarly.
No, he's not
a Tarly.
No, he's a Strong.
Yeah, Strong.
Remember?
Yeah, he's a Strong. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's interesting that Laris is part of their family too.
I know.
But yeah, I mean, he he's like the audience surrogate in all this. He's just looking at Damon like, aren't you? He's like, you're not a fucking king, dog. Why are you here? But either way,
you want some food?
You're kind of weird, bro. Thought you were here to like gather an army and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I mean, those scenes were really drawn out. I think the way it ended would have gone a lot less like badly if there would have been a way less backlash if there wasn't so much damn filler in the season.
Right.
It's just like you guys could have cut a whole episode worth of all this bullshit out, and you could have given us the finale we deserved.
Yeah. Yeah. Instead, like you split the party for no real reason.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, I'm gonna say we're back to square one, but kinda, in terms of like the Damon and Rhaenyra stuff,
Yeah, I have this D&D table where like the group won't stay together for any reason.
That's crazy,
and I fucking hate it.
I can't imagine. I mean, but it's probably like a real cool group of people though that make it worth it.
They're all right. I'm thinking about killing them all.
It's probably let one of them live to tell the story. Probably.
That's true.
Probably like a good Lil Paladin would probably be the best.
Okay. Yeah. You're probably right.
Yeah, I think so.
They have to make it out, right?
Yeah. At least him.
Yeah. Just one.
Yeah.
You're getting real specific there.
Am I?
Yeah, I think so.
I just have a vision for your story as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, anytime,
man.
Of course.
I mean, I can't ask George R. R. Martin. This motherfucker don't got a vision for any stories. What? So I feel like we've been negative as fuck for this whole time just because we're all so mad. I don't think they understand how pissed people are about it.
They should have seen this coming.
Right. It's almost like they're oblivious to it.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like they're just like, oh, well, what do you guys mean? It was a great season. Everyone loved it. No.
Yeah.
No, we hated it.
To a much, much lesser extent, this is similar to when, I forget who did it, but the guy that directed the Flash movie was like, the CG's supposed to look like this.
Yeah, we were supposed to make everyone enraged.
Yeah, like I don't believe you.
It would be also another thing, and this is where it becomes meta, right? Where it's just like in a vacuum, this is a great episode of TV.
Yeah,
but you step back and you look at it, and it's like, this isn't a show where we're gonna find out in the spring what happened,
right?
Yeah,
they're not coming back after a mid-season break.
No,
this is it.
No, they're coming back in 2 fucking years.
Yeah.
Like, we will be lucky if we see this in June 2026.
Right.
Fucking Avengers Doomsday will be out.
Yeah. And then we'll have to wait 1 year for that sequel.
Yeah. Like, literally the Russos will be back.
Yeah.
They will be hopefully setting up Secret Wars.
I heard a rumor that
hold up now.
Oh shit!
I'm trying to get
not the Umbrella Academy.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that's coming back really soon, and we'll be reviewing. It's out.
It's out today.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Yeah. So that add to the docket.
The final season.
Yep.
Hopefully they don't cliffhanger us because.
Yeah. But Man, what's his name? The showrunner for this show, Ryan
Condal.
Ryan Condal. I heard that he's not coming back for. Is he coming back for season 3?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay.
I think he's on board for the whole thing. I mean, for the rest of it.
How would you feel if he didn't come back and they got the Double D's to come back and?
Oh, I wouldn't watch it. Yeah. What was it? The 3 Body Problem. It's a show. I think it was on Netflix that Dan and Dave came out with, and I had a couple people. The homie Oz was one of them.
Yeah.
That was like, oh yeah, man, it's not that bad. I was like, listen, I'm not going to watch that shit. I don't care what you say. I would need you and 3 other trusted references to watch the entirety of this show, start to to series finale, not season. And all of you would have to be like, it's at least a 7.5 or higher for me to even entertain that shit.
So I take it you didn't watch it then.
Hell no, I didn't watch it. It'd be like if you told me that Shane Black was coming out with an Iron Man TV show. I would be like, I fucking think not.
I can't wait to see where Iron Man 3 is ranked on your list. That's gonna be.
Just know that it's not at the bottom, and it fucking
It hurt.
It hurt every time I had to put something under it.
We might have the same worst movie.
I think we had the same 51. Yeah. I know.
It's got to be. I think it's a movie that like neither of us have ever said anything positive about.
I think that even if I know this for sure, we may not have the same 51, but I don't think you're gonna fight me.
I agree.
Yeah, because a movie automatically got moved out of the bottom 5 if I thought we would disagree. You know, like
Yeah.
there's at least 5 Marvel movies that we both fucking just hate.
Yeah.
Like, I think the only ones that we really disagree on, and this is to different extents, are the Marvels and Civil War, and those are at far different ends. Of that spectrum.
Yeah. It's not like I'm like all right. Number 36, the Marvels. Number 35, Civil War.
Bro, that's one thing that really pissed me off is Secret Invasion is they kept using the fonts and shit from Civil War.
Yeah.
Like they're like, and the way it's shot is almost like they want you to think the Russos did it. You know what I mean? Like it is shot very well. You know?
Yeah.
But at least there wasn't a whole bunch of crappy CGI and shit. No, you thought so?
Huh?
You thought so?
You ain't seen the finale yet, dog.
Oh, okay. My bad.
I will say this about Secret Invasion. I do like the villain for the most. I like the actor. He's really good.
Yeah, graphics good. Yeah. I was like, why does everyone hate this? This finale has to be just dog shit awful. I'm gonna watch it tonight when I go home. So
I mean, so at this point, you've seen the War Machine reveal.
Oh yeah, I called that shit because he's a terrible Skrull. Yeah. I knew it wasn't him in the first scene. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, then you have to think, how long has he been a Skrull? Which the finale makes a lot of people wonder that.
Huh. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. I would have to guess, right, that it at least couldn't have been him in Wakanda.
A lot of people think that when we see him in Endgame, like that's probably the Skrull.
Or fucking interestingly, right? Like, what if Civil War, like, he dies? From the injuries, and that's where the Skrull took him.
That's also another theory that people have said that that's when he got switched. And I'm like, if that's the case, that's a long fucking time.
Yeah, that's also like the reason I can tell you that ain't him is that fucking Skrull. He's like the fucking Multiverse of Madness Reed Richards of the Skrull. Like, he's so bad at imitating fucking Colonel Rhodes. Like, I could tell from the first scene because he uses words that Rhodey doesn't use. Yeah. And phrases that Rhodey would never say.
Right.
And honestly, it's brilliant acting from him because, I mean, you can tell.
He's playing a character that's that's imitating a character that he's played for
He's
years.
playing a dude.
Yeah.
Disguised as another dude.
I wonder who he learned that from.
Yeah, it's weird. That's a weird skill set. I don't know.
It is, yeah.
Where you
yeah.
could possibly pick that up. Anyway.
This is oddly enough the second dive we've done on Secret Invasion on this podcast.
It really is, yeah.
What does that say about House of the Dragon season 2 that we've talked about Secret Invasion twice?
So, what's your favorite moments of House of the Dragon season? If you want to hear us talk positively about House of the Dragon season 2, go listen to our review of part 1.
Yeah.
Where we sat in this same room and fucking gushed about it for 90 minutes.
Oh, we were younger and naive and bright-eyed.
It's like when I listened to you and Kevin do your Winter Soldier live commentary, you know, and you guys are talking about fucking Hugh Jackman's Wolverine being Doctor Strange.
Oh, yeah.
It would be like a decade later before you would see that.
Right? God damn.
Did you see that Hugh Jackman consumed
6,000
calories a day?
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm doing the math on that. 6,000 calories and you got that fucking shredded?
That had to have been, what, like 4,000 eggs or something?
Like, so I remember, like, I think it was for the Wolverine, like, that's arguably him and like his fucking dicest, you know?
Yeah.
And he said that he consumed basically nothing but egg white omelets.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that sounds...
That's Hemsworth's Thor diet,
yeah.
too, yeah.
Yeah, and let me tell you, like, I consume a lot of egg whites, and that shit gets old after one day.
Yeah. Can you imagine, like, that's all you just subsist on?
You can't, because there's nothing in it.
Right.
You're getting protein with a little bit of sodium.
Yeah, that can't actually be healthy.
No,
You know, this is not a nutrition podcast. But
not in the least.
Yeah.
But don't do that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, look at me, and I still wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? I'm obviously not a health expert, but so what's your kind of favorite moments in season 2?
Yeah.
What's the highlights for you?
And again, there are some great moments in this. Just let me go through the Rolodex here. Obviously, episode 4 had some amazing moments. All right, that I mean, the last 15 to 11 minutes of that episode was just phenomenal. It was phenomenal action and phenomenal storytelling all in one, and then it left you wondering what happens next, you know?
Yeah.
We haven't talked about this scene actually, but I really like the scene with Alicent and Rhaenyra when Alicent comes and talks to Rhaenyra. We talked about them meeting up again, but we never really talked about their conversation.
Right.
I enjoyed that scene. What you think of it?
The acting in that scene I thought was tremendous.
Yeah.
And it is interesting to see the dichotomy of it with the first one, because in the first one, it's Rhaenyra coming to Alicent and being like, look, we're about to do this. And I mean, lots of people are going to die. Millions of people are going to die.
Yeah.
And this is in a time where like 1 million people is a lot of fucking people.
Yeah.
You know, there's probably 10 million people in all of Westeros.
Right.
Like in 7 fucking kingdoms.
Yeah.
You know? And then like when they meet back up later, when Alicent comes to Dragonstone, it's very similar. You know, she's like, look, they'll go open the gates for you, and we don't have to do this. And Rhaenyra is like, it's too late.
Yeah.
The same thing that Alicent said to her in King's Landing.
Yep.
It's too late. But it's interesting. Like Rhaenyra drops that line that, you know, history will remember you as a cold and power hungry queen.
Yeah.
And that is how she's remembered. You know, it's interesting because, like we said, it's interesting to see the differences where it's like what got recorded in history, and then the show is like what really happened. I've always liked Alicent as a character. I don't think that she was that cold, but she definitely was power hungry, right? And she definitely had no problem throwing honor out the window at every turn to get what she wanted.
Yeah.
You know, right down to sleeping with fucking Kristen Cole, which is probably the most unforgivable thing she's ever done.
God damn.
But I did love this scene And it's interesting to see where Rhaenyra basically says, like, you know, Aegon is done. Like, I have to kill him.
Yeah.
You know, he's the usurper. Like, I have to kill him, and I have to kill him publicly. And at that point, you kind of think Alicent's going to be like, well, we go into fucking war then, you know?
Yeah.
But she's like,
It's kind of a pause.
yeah, and you could tell, and then, you know, in typical Alicent fashion, she's just like, okay. Mm-hmm. And you're just like, I mean, I know there's not a whole lot of him left, but
Right.
you got to think about the weight of that. You have a mother who's just like acknowledging, yeah, fine, like, my eldest son, he's about to get publicly fucking executed. Mm-hmm. But me and Helena and my granddaughter, we're gonna get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Yeah, that shit is heavy, right? I mean, clearly, I think that hopefully we do get to see like an Aegon and Clubfoot Larry road show.
I mean, I know how certain things are going to turn out, and there's certain events, right, where if they change them from the books, I think people are going to be so livid, and I will be among those people. Yeah. So what else did you have other than those?
Yeah.
Any other highlights for you?
Yeah, I also still really enjoyed the conclusion to the Daemon LSD trip. You know, I thought that him coming out on the other end, deciding to be loyal to his boo thing was a nice conclusion. I've already talked about the negatives with the lead up, but still, I thought that the outcome was still really strong.
The moment still got me. Yeah. I thought it was a really great moment.
Yeah,
because the whole time you're just like, oh my god, they're setting us up for this whole, like, you know, Daemon. Oh well, you know, Daemon's going to declare for himself.
Yeah,
because we've always seen at every turn, every time he has a chance to be selfless, he never takes it.
Yeah,
this is why Viserys. Even fucking Ghost Viserys is just like, you never deserved it.
Yeah.
You know, it could never be you.
Right.
And for the first time ever, we actually are seeing Daemon kind of get his Vegeta moment here, where he's like, I understand I have to play backseat right now. Mm-hmm. Like, this is what I'm meant to do.
It's so hard to ask you this question because I guess you technically know the outcome, but
yeah,
like, what do you make of Alice Rivers saying, you know, you will die here, you know, and it's like, well, we know that a battle is coming to Harrenhal, and at least originally, maybe still, Aemon was supposed to meet his troops on the way, you know, to Harrenhal. Are we finally going to get that big Daemon and Aemon battle that I feel has been kind of building since season 1, and is the conclusion going to be one of them dying, maybe both?
If it were me, and I can't answer that last question, that's some fucking, where do you think they're keeping the ATM shit?
Both good questions.
Like, I could tell you. Well, you know the answer now.
That's true.
And you know that I knew then.
Yeah.
You know, and was just like, no, I can't tell you that.
If Kay were here, she'd help me.
However, if it were me, I would save that fight for the very last episode, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Of not of the season, but
no,
of the show.
Of the whole show, yeah. I think I would save it for the very end. Because, you know, not to... Now, that might be a spoiler, so I'm not going to say it. But I won't say anything more than, if it were me, I would save that for the very end of the whole show, like the very last episode. Because, honestly, like, they're kind of feud. Like, obviously, Aemon grew up idolizing Daemon, right?
Yeah.
Wanting to be as good of a fighter as him and as good of a dragon rider as him, and this kind of, like, legendary, you know, Targaryen dragon rider character, you know, kind of the, you know, dragon riding soldier archetype. And he's done it. I mean, he bonded the largest dragon in the world. He's incredibly formidable as a warrior.
Yeah.
He even models himself after Daemon. I mean, physically, the way his whole look is fucking Daemon Jr.
His depth perception may be off a little bit, but
Yeah, but that's his whole thing, right? Is like he idolizes his uncle, but he's also on the opposite side of him, and to him, I think the ultimate goal is to defeat Daemon in combat, and basically, I have superseded. I'm the greatest warrior in my family.
Do you think he's trying to prove that to himself, or is she trying to maybe get Daemon's approval in some kind of twisted way?
I think when he was younger, he probably had that, but I think now it's a thing to prove it to himself. Aemond is coming apart at the seams here, man. He is not handling this shit well because, it's literally. I mean, it didn't take 2 episodes,
right?
Alicent was like, Aemond, it can't fucking be Aemond,
Right?
Because
she knew.
Yeah, I mean, Aemond's whole thing is exactly what I just said. This motherfucker is literally the person who grows up watching John Wayne movies and then they decide they want to be a cop, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is like the most dangerous type of person.
Right.
And Aemond is that, he's this guy who, his whole thing is, I want to be this badass dragon rider.
Right.
And like, as a instrument to a knowledgeable king, that's great. That's what Daemon always was to Viserys. But as the king, that's not good.
Yeah, that's not good at all, right? And especially like,
it's like you make Bruce Wayne like the mayor of Gotham.
Yeah, right.
It's like this ain't his lane.
Yeah, this ain't his lane. Like granted, I don't think that he would be as bad of a mayor as Aemond is as king.
No,
but still, it's like they're like, but Aemond, the people are starving. I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
the fuck they got to do with me?
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, lock the fucking doors.
Yeah, Rhaenyra sending them food on boats. Oh, well, make sure that we patrol the gateway or whatever.
Right.
Don't let any of that food in here. What the fuck?
The fuck?
That's gonna like disturb all the food that we do have now. Yeah, right. I don't care.
I did obviously. I like the scene in episode 7, the fucked up scene. Okay, so I want to take a step back and like look at the logistics of the scene I'm talking about. I'm talking about where like they got all the bastards in.
Yeah,
from they all weren't from just King's Landing. Like they were from wherever the.
Yeah, I think a lot of them were from King's Landing, but I mean,
like
that's where the most of the Targaryen bastards would be. Like, that's where they live.
So I just imagine, right? Like, just imagine getting solicited for that and being like, "Hey, man, are you a Targaryen bastard? We have the golden opportunity for you." Imagine being able to escape your station in life to something bigger than yourself. You could be a dragon rider, and then just. The whole army approach to the 17-year-old kid. We can get you that charger,
Matt Damon comes out of nowhere, fortune favors the bold.
Yeah. And like, the only way they could have made this scene fucking colder from Rhaenyra's standpoint would be if she just deceived them even more. Because I think that there are lies of omission that had to be committed to get those people there.
Yeah.
Clearly, like, she didn't tell them the whole, the whole gist of what.
Yeah, it was like, you're going to have a chance. And honestly, I don't know that she necessarily knew because, like, she's thinking that the Dragon Keepers are going to do like they did with, what's his name?
Darkland. Yeah, Sir Darkland.
And be like, they're going to sing songs to the dragon and call him over and all this shit, and it's like they aren't going to participate. Yeah. We're going to lock all you motherfuckers in a room in the Dragon Battle Royale and see what happens.
Yeah, and I'm like, damn, or like Rhaenyra, you didn't teach them those songs, and you didn't, like they didn't get like a Fallout style like tutorial of what to do, nothing. And dog, like if I were her. If I was going to be that cold-blooded, all right, I would play it like this. I'd be like, you keep them all in the waiting room first.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, so whenever you guys one at a time, go and approach said dragon, and if you bond with the dragon, congratulations, you're a dragon rider. If it doesn't bond with you, then you still have an option to serve us in other ways. You can serve us in the battle, you can serve us in blah blah blah. In reality, we all know what happens.
yeah.
And you do it because that way, then you don't have to worry about there being a big panic.
Yeah, and you don't have to kill everyone.
You don't kill everyone.
Like once your dragons get bonded, everybody who hasn't gone yet can go home.
Right.
Yeah, they didn't have to kill all this motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Vermithor takes, Hugh just goes last. Vermithor's like, I don't know if I like you or if I'm just full.
Yeah, right. It could be both.
I really like Hugh as that character.
Oh, me too. Yeah. Did his daughter die?
We're not sure, right? I don't think so. I think she's just really sick.
Okay. Yeah. Because we know that she was getting worse and worse every time we saw her. And then, like, the last time he's talking to his wife, he almost speaks about her in not in passing, but almost like she's past tense almost. I couldn't tell.
If she died, then I didn't catch it.
Yeah, if she died, then I think the show could have done a better job of telling us.
Yeah, we should have seen like a scene of him burying her or something.
Yeah, something.
So,
yeah, hopefully she's still alive. But obviously, I really enjoyed that scene, though.
Yeah, that whole scene, and I mean, really, that was a great episode.
Yeah.
Even to the point where we got that cool ass scene where Vagar chases after Silverwing.
Yeah.
And then Rhaenyra comes out. It's like, oh no, we just want to talk. Come on.
Yeah.
We're not gonna jump you. It's cool.
Right.
We just want to talk.
Oh shit.
Making us think that there would be a fight in the next episode.
I mean, silly us for thinking such a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why we assumed that.
Yeah.
That was on us.
So let me ask you, because we've talked at length about this. Do you think that if they had ended the season there at the end of 7, that there would be like less rage?
Not from my standpoint, no.
I do think that would have been a better end to the season than what we got.
Yeah, it would have been a better.
Because it almost is like that's the end of season 3, and then it's almost like the last episode was just a fucking hour-long trailer.
Yeah, we got an epilogue.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. That is essentially what it was, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, they just gave us episode 8 just a bunch of B-roll footage, that they put together.
Right. The lost episodes.
Yeah. What'd you think of the Corlys and Alan stuff?
I actually really love the lore and mythology with Corlys and Alan and
Adam.
But I think that the way that they went about it was like it was just executed really poorly.
I agree.
Like the actual ending scene with Alan and Corlys was amazing.
Yep.
But like the acting from the actor that plays Alan was incredible in that scene.
Yes.
It's like they hired him on just for that because every other scene he's in, the only other scene that we got with them that was really any good is, well, there was 2. So where Adam leaves, and they don't even have another scene after he bonds Sea Smoke, do they?
No.
And then, because he's a Dragonstone now.
Yep.
And then, so they have that scene between the 2 of them, and then you have another scene that they're not even in between Rhaenys and Corlys.
Yeah.
Where she basically, is in her way that she, kind of skirted around things because they are nobility or whatever. She acknowledged, like, I know that they're your bastards, you know, and she's basically like, you should legitimize them,
Yeah.
And Corlys is just, I guess he spent his whole life like staying away from doing that.
But that the whole blow up, man, was a great moment though.
It really was. Yeah.
And because it really made you see things from Alan's POV.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, so both your children die, and then you try to put your bastard grandson, in that position, to be a ruler of Driftmark. That clearly didn't work, know. And only when when your other bastard kid becomes a dragon rider, now all of a sudden you want to come around, and I really enjoyed that scene, and it really made me understand more of Alan's mindset and why he is the way that he is.
We should have got that a lot earlier, I think, or at least something to build up to it.
Yeah, I agree, especially since the logical conclusion is that Corlys has got to legitimize him, right, and make him the new heir to Driftmark.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be where we're going with that.
Yeah.
I wish we had gotten more moments with Alan that kind of made him feel more like a character, because he's the character in this series that things just happen around him and he just stands there stoically.
And then he gets his one big speech at the end. Yeah. I think it's tough, right, with him. And one thing I really like about this is the trope that we always get in our society, because it's so common, is my dad left when I was a kid. There's millions of people in our society with that story.
Yeah.
Which this is random as fuck, but John David Washington's character in Ballers actually has a great version of that. Have you ever seen that show?
I didn't finish it, but I saw at least the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, love that show. Anyway, his story arc with his father in that is a really good example of that.
With Denzel?
No.
Yeah, I know. I'm fucking with you.
No. But this is like a whole nother level of that, right? Like this is like it's like your dad up and left, but he lives across the street in a house that's 100 times nicer than yours with his new family.
Right. And sometimes when he sees you out in the street in your rags, he waves at you.
Yeah. Yeah, while he's on his way to buy his kids a new gold-plated backpack so he can go to a nicer school that he goes to.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, his rage is understandable, and especially when we get to the point, not only that, but like, okay, you're in a point where you had to make the difficult decision to save this motherfucker's life or not, and you held up to honor.
Yep.
And literally, no one would have blamed you if you sat there with a smile on your face while he drowned.
Yeah.
And as a thanks for that, you now get to serve on his ship, and you get to see this motherfucker every single day.
Yeah.
And you're the first mate. It's not like you can avoid the captain,
right?
And then it's like you said, he's done tried to make his bastard fucking grandson the heir to Driftmark. He offered it to his granddaughter, and then it's just like, now that he's just completely and totally out of options, he's like, hey, man.
Yeah. To put into perspective, homies, it would be like, Kevin leaves and I look for a new co-host. Caleb comes on the podcast all the time and I'm like, how about you, man? You want the gig? And I was like, I'm like, okay. And then I go like, Dylan, dog, how you feel about it? And he's like, I look at Caleb and I go, Brendan, how you feel about... And then I was like, Caleb, me and you always have good chemistry on the podcast, man. How would you feel about being the co-host?
Yeah, I'd have been like, nah, I'm good. As a matter of fact, I'm busy.
I didn't give you a time though. You just
time no time nor date. You didn't give me a month. Very busy.
Oh shit. Shout out to you, Brandon. I don't even know if you watch House of the Dragon. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, right? I guess we'll find out shortly.
I guess we'll find out, yeah.
And Dylan doesn't either, actually.
Oh, yeah.
But Oz does.
Oz does.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Oz.
Shout out to you, Oz.
Yeah. Trying to think if there were any other moments that I really, really enjoyed. I mean, there are a lot of micro moments that I thought were really great.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember, we covered the first 4 episodes.
Oh, yeah.
So we're really only talking, getting into the weeds here about the last 4.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there was a lot of things in those first 4, especially Rook's Rest. I liked the chemistry. Like, I liked everything falling down around, like Aegon and then also Aemond, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, we all know, just like Tywin Lannister was running the show until he wasn't, and then it went to shit very quickly.
Yeah.
Same deal here.
Yeah.
When Otto Hightower was handed the king, everything, I mean, Westeros has never been a utopia for anybody, but it was for the Greens during that time.
Yeah.
Everybody else might have been. I mean, even the common people were doing way better when Otto Hightower was there.
Yeah.
Because Otto Hightower knows there's a million of them. Like, yeah, okay, you got a dragon, but like, you gonna have to kill everyone,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And then what are you gonna be the king of?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I think
Daenerys Targaryen. You know, you're the king of the
right.
ashes of King's Landing.
exactly. I think the smartest thing that Aemon ever did as king was send for Otto to come back to be Hand.
Oh yeah, because he knew fucking Kristen Cole wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, and that's his boy.
Yeah.
He's like, you can't be doing
Or
this
at least they were like, you know, Kristen. He had one moment of clarity where he did back Alicent, right, where no one else really did.
shit. Yeah,
And I think that really rubbed Aemon the wrong way.
yeah.
That and you can look at Kristen's face and knowing what Aemon knows, he's like, this motherfucker feels bad about what I did to my brother. How dare he?
Yeah.
You know?
Right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Aemond is just like, I enjoy Aemond as a character,
Yeah.
but I mean, at this point, they're doing that, like, Killmonger shit, where they're just like, oh yeah, well, you might not like this guy now, but we're going to have him do some real awful shit.
Yeah.
We're just going to have him kill a kid in every episode, you know?
Right.
Because ultimately, at some point, you know, like obviously him and Daemon's paths have to cross. So ultimately, you have to make him look fucking unhinged and like the bad guy next to Daemon.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, you know, like if nothing else, I can definitely say this about season 2 is that if you're not exhausted with the show at this point, then you are extremely ready for things to come. And I think that the people behind the scenes at HBO now know that they really have to deliver with season 3. If they continue to drag their feet and continue with the setups and, you know, with this little character moment and that little story beat, they're going to continue to lose people. Again, I don't know what the numbers are for this season compared to season 1. But I can tell you this much, though. They're going to have to work hard to get people back for season 3. I mean, clearly, you and I are still going to be there. I still look forward to seeing what they do. But, man, like, this just was not the move this season.
I mean, they just angered everybody, right? I mean, I doubt they're going to have growth, right? Because the way it would go with Game of Thrones is like, we would watch a season of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And then we spend the next, like, 10 months being to everybody, we'd be like, you watching Game of Thrones, bro? Well, you need to get caught the fuck up because that shit gets crazy. Mm-hmm. It's coming back on next year. It's about to be insane. You got, like, 8 months to watch all this TV. Nobody's doing that now.
Yeah.
People are like, you started House of the Dragon, bro? Man, don't even fucking bother. You got so much time.
Right. Right.
You know?
And the bad thing about that is word of mouth is the best kind of marketing.
Right.
And, like, they have shot themselves in the foot for that.
And it's not like back in the day, man. You can just go right on Reddit and see.
Oh yeah.
I would imagine this episode is probably getting review bombed if I didn't know any better.
It probably is.
Yeah. And it deserves it. I mean,
it's and again, right? This episode is not bad.
No,
it's not
not
a bad episode.
No.
But again, like we both said, it's just a terrible finale.
yeah, I mean, they basically have done, you know, it's nowhere near as bad as season 8 of Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah, no.
But what they've done, though, is they have, season 8 of Game of Thrones redefined 6.5 great seasons of TV.
Yep.
Down into these last 4 episodes that are just fucking trash.
Yeah.
And they've kind of done that in a microcosm here where it's just like, yeah, this is not a bad season of television. But this finale is the way that you've done this is you have redefined all of it.
Yeah.
You know, Rook's Rest, you had everybody losing their mind. Like, this show has gone in. Mm-hmm. This is incredible. I can't wait to see how they're going to top this. And they never fucking did.
Never. And it's not like they tried. They didn't. Like, we got a really cool moment in episode 7. I mean, episode 7 was a really great episode. But man, like ultimately this season just failed to deliver the goods. You know, like in terms of like the macro plot points, it just didn't move the needle the way that it needed to, you know? So ultimately it was a pacing issue and an episode issue, and it was just so glaringly obvious that we were missing some episodes.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, 9 and 10.
Yep.
Which is fine if you want to do an 8-episode season. I mean, I don't mind. I mean, I honestly really love the pacing of Loki season 2, and that was only a 6-episode show.
6 episodes.
Tell me the story you have time for. You know.
Yeah, exactly that.
But like, it's like we said, they made a like the script was 10 episodes and they just gave us 8.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't condense 10 into 8.
Right.
They made all 10 and then they chopped that up and went, here's 1 through 8.
Right.
You know. And yeah, I mean, I was very happy to see that they did announce that this is going to be over with season 4. Because that was kind of my thing, is I felt like they were doing like The Boys. Like, you're just stretching this out. I mean, we thought that it was egregious when The Hobbit, you know, is a 250-page book that they stretched into 3 fucking movies.
Right.
This is half of a book that they stretched into 34 hours of television.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So, and I mean, granted, the way it's written changes things a little bit.
That's true. Yeah.
I honestly think if it had been me, this could have been done in 3 seasons. I get it, though. I'm very happy that they announced they're going to do it in 4 because now they got to move. Yeah. You know, there's several big moments. I mean, honestly, the Battle of the Gullet is probably the biggest battle. So, you know, I feel like we're going to be looking at a similar situation in season 3 where it's like, I think we're going to see the Battle of the Gullet. It's got to be in the first half. I mean, they've done everything. Like, the way this episode ends, if this was a season of Game of Thrones, the next episode would open with the battle.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, speaking of which, how about, and you have to tell me the name of the place because I forget the name, but Aemon apparently takes Vhagar and they go and fucking burninate someplace off screen.
No, they showed it. They show a clip of him on the dragon and the city's just on fire and everything.
I mean, okay, yeah, so we get that, but we don't get to see him actually raising the city. Like we get to see we see him, the dragon, and the city on fire.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But I'm like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, at least show us Vhagar wrecking shit, you know?
Right.
And granted, I get it, like, the CGI has to be
I know.
Absolutely insane. Because the thing about it is, the dragons always look amazing. Yeah. It's some of the best CGI
it is
out there today.
How fucking saggy is Vhagar's neck? I mean, that thing just fucking.
He's old. I mean, she's old as fuck.
Yeah.
She's one of the original dragons, so she's at least 300.
I'm proud to say that, like, I got rid of my underwear that looked like her wings.
Yeah, her wings got holes in them. Bro.
Yeah, dog.
Like, that's got to be rough, right? I mean,
yeah.
I'm glad that as humans we don't have that. You know what I mean?
Right. Like imagine if we had like a
or like you just do some Viserys shit. You know, when you get old, your cheeks just kind of have holes in them.
And, yeah.
You know, no, you just got.
I have seen quite a few, people though when they get old, they get the saggy necks too.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty common.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so now they were talking about dragon necks. I feel like we may have reached the potential end of this one.
Yeah, I think we should give this season a score.
I think so too.
And then wrap it the fuck up. And then in 2 days, we got The List.
Yep. Oh man, I again really looking forward to that, guys. I highly recommend that you guys tune in for that one, because it's gonna be a lot of fun going through that. 51.
51.
God damn.
Yeah, we're gonna start at 51. We're gonna go all the way
All
to the
the
top,
way up.
all the way up. And I'm so excited for the ranking, man. It can't get
Yes.
here fast enough. And we have a lot of other shit coming out, man. We have we got Mistborn, we got Saga, we got Umbrella Academy.
Umbrella Academy, yeah. We got Days of Future Past. We got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1.
I think we should do Days of Future Past next after the list, right?
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, and then Umbrella Academy probably.
Yeah. Because all those are going to release at one time. So
Yeah.
yep.
So.
And then we also have the Acolyte.
Oh yeah, we gotta do that. Yeah.
Got to do that too. So,
Daphne Keane
back again.
She's like probably the second best character in that, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, I really liked her in that.
Yeah.
You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
As a whole, I really enjoyed this season, especially if I look at it as like an episode by episode breakdown, man. There's so many good moments. Even if they are small, they still matter and they still mean a lot to the overall feeling of the show. I absolutely loved episode 4. Absolutely adored episode 7. I enjoyed so many of the moments where our characters finally have the conversations that they need to have. This episode did leave me wanting, and not in the sense of it's so good that I want more, but in the sense of they literally should have given me more in order for me to feel satisfied. You know, clearly there were missing episodes, and clearly there are shoes that have not dropped. Those shoes are still up in the fucking air.
So 2026.
2026. That's a long fucking throw. And yeah, I gotta say, the way that you're supposed to end a season of television like this that has such a long wait time is to leave the people wanting more. But what they've done in a bad sense is they have left people wanting, and there is a difference.
Yeah, because the difference is, like, okay, you just gave me some of this, and I really want some more.
Yeah.
Like, you just gave me the dick, and I can't wait to get back to, get some more of it. Whereas this is like, are you going to give me the dick?
Yeah, this is like, pants are down, dick is out.
Yeah, let me not drink while you're saying whatever you're going to say.
Dick is out. And you're like, all right, we're about to do this. And then you're like, yeah, you just fucking wait. Here I come. Yeah, I'm getting there. And then you never do.
Yeah, and you're like, you know what? I think I can squeeze you in somewhere around 2026.
Yeah, I don't have time to do this right now. Like, I know my pants is off, my dick is out. I
done put a little lube on there.
But I don't have the time right now. So we're just gonna run it back in about 2 years. And we'll pick back up right here.
Right here. In this exact spot. Don't go anywhere.
That's exactly what this season did. But no, I still had a lot of fun with this season. I think I gave season 1 at least a 9. It's been about 2 years since I reviewed it, but I think it was around a 9 for me. I really enjoyed it. I give this one a 7.6.
Okay, that's fair. And you put that incredibly eloquently, so I'm not gonna blue balls the homies or waste their time. The highs of this season were incredible. There really aren't that many lows to speak of. There's just a lot of mid. And it's like you put it, is the juice worth the squeeze? You haven't seen The Wire, right?
Still haven't.
So I'm going to tell you, the pacing of The Wire is incredibly plotting, right? I mean, there's probably 20 minutes in the first season of Idris Elba walking around, like, looking at shit. And then in season 2, like, the way that show goes is, like, they changed kind of the angle of the show. Your main characters are still there, but they changed the way that you see them. And that's one of the reasons that it's so brilliant. And there are 3 episodes at the beginning of season 2 where you really don't see fucking anyone from season 1.
Damn.
Because they look at the power structure of the city from, in season 1, you're looking at it mainly from like the police on dealing with the drug war. Season 2, you're looking at it from the angle of the dock workers who are looking at like the corruption.
Yeah.
There's a season where they're looking at it from the politicians. There's a season where they're looking at it from the media.
Yeah.
So it's the same subject matter, but it's just from all these different viewpoints each season. And that's one of the things that's really interesting about that show. The thing about it is the fucking payoff of that show is incredible. They do a great job with it. I don't think it's as good as The Shield. This is not that episode. So I don't mind a steady pace show as long as you're going to give me something worth it.
Yeah.
A lot of people, Dark Knight Rises is kind of like that, where it's just like there's a lot of, man, everything's really fucked in this movie. You know, there's a good solid hour in the middle where it's just like, is anybody going to do anything?
Yeah.
But I would argue that the finish is so bombastic, you know, that it's really good.
Is that a pun because there's a bomb?
Right. And it's kind of like with Endgame, right? We had to wait a year. We got that big cliffhanger. But that's still the best theater experience I've ever had.
Yeah.
You know? Like, we were all sitting there just waiting for any fucking crumb of the Marvel Universe post-Infinity War. To the point that we all watched Ant-Man 2 and fucking Captain Marvel.
They got us.
They got us. Twice. And literally, at the end of Ant-Man 2, they gave us a fucking ant playing the drums.
Oh, yeah, that's what we got.
In the post-snap world, and we were happy about that shit. Because it was the only little crumb we had gotten, you know?
Yeah.
And we were like, what? You know, we want to know, you know?
What happened to that ant? They killed that bitch? That thing should probably not be alive.
I don't know, man.
That's the danger.
We never saw... I mean, he probably got zapped by Kang.
That's true, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, it was worth it. This doesn't feel like that. There's so many moments in this season that there's just these huge kind of accolades the show reaches to. Rook's Rest is obviously the standout, you know, and then the sewing, you know, with us seeing Verminthor, you know, be this fucking rage monster. Incredible work. The lighting alone in that episode, tremendous. The production values are always amazing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's not a moment in this show, to me, where there's ever like the escapism isn't there. You know what I mean? There might be a few writing choices where, you know, it's a little contrived and you just kind of go along with it. But like, fuck, have you seen some of the other shit that we watch? So, you know,
right.
like by comparison, this is paradise.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a solid 8, man. Okay. If I'm judging that last episode as a season finale, we don't want to talk about that. But I've got to say, I would have given this show a better score than season 1 up until those credits rolled on that finale. And it did that much damage. I'm going to give it a solid 8. Looking at it from the way that they blue balls this man, it's really just pissed off a ton of people. I'm still angry about it. Every time I think about it, I just get angry. That's not the kind of heat that you want.
Yeah,
you know?
So let me ask you this. Will this season be a lot better in your viewpoint, say 6 years from now when you go back and rewatch the whole thing?
Oh, yeah, because I can just go watch season 3 right after.
Right.
You know, it'll be a lot better. Because theoretically, there's going to be a crazy-ass fight.
Yeah.
So.
But again, the juice really has to be worth the squeeze for season 3.
Yeah, I mean, season 3 has to open like we are at war.
Yeah.
There cannot. I don't want one single conversation about maybe we shouldn't do this.
Yeah, no. That ship has sailed.
It had sailed at the end of season 1, which is why everybody's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. So here we are, and man, I understand that if you're someone who worked on the show, that you have to put out the PR fires, and you have to say the things that make you sound very confident in what you have put out. But at the same time, there's almost more comfort in admitting that, okay, maybe there were mistakes that were made, and we're going to improve on that next time around. I would rather hear that than, well, no, this was really good, and we were supposed to do this because of X, Y, and Z. So I just hope that that season 3 is more concise. I hope it's going to have to be paced differently, just for the sake of the story. It can't be paced like season 2. But I'm looking forward to it, man. Still, I am someone who is still on the bandwagon of House of the Dragon. You know what I mean? I gave it a 7.6. That's still like a really, really good score. So I still really had a good time with this season, man. But they're gonna have to pick it all the way up for season 3.
All the way up.
All the way up. But yeah, man, that's what I got.
Yeah, that's all I got too, man.
So
we'll find out in 2026.
We'll find out in 2026.
And hey,
guys.
we actually gave you guys a review.
Yeah, we decided not to blue balls you. We were going to make you guys wait 2 years to let you know what our final thoughts and review were. But no, here we are instead.
I should have been like, all right, we're going to give our final scores, and then we just cut it off.
Yeah, just... yeah.
But be sure to join us this weekend because we are going to compile the motherfucking list.
That we are. The Marvel Cinematic Universe. I thought that Kevin and I did our review like 2 years ago, but it was actually almost like 5.
Was it right after Endgame?
It was right after Endgame.
So it was the Infinity Saga then.
Yeah, we ranked the Infinity Saga. Yep.
Wow, it's weird.
No, you know what? Because I confused 2 lists because we did one a few years later about
the villains.
Yeah.
So I got to go ahead and tell you guys the Infinity Saga is doing a lot better than the Multiverse Saga on my list. I don't know about you.
Surprise, man. Like,
I don't know. We might get past 10 before there's a Multiverse Saga movie. I don't know. I think.
Well, I mean, it depends on what you think of, like, No Way Home.
And Deadpool and
Wolverine. Yeah.
Deadpool and Wolverine was actually further down on mine than I thought it was going to be. Yeah, not like a lot, but.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in a couple days.
Talk about it on Saturday, yeah.
But yeah, guys, so that's going to be it for now. I always forget to do this, so I'm going to put the tag here. If you guys have any kind of questions, comments, gifts, threats, food, supplies, simply hit us up at superherohomies@gmail.com or any of our social media outlets. Believe it or not, we're always active, live, and listening. And also, drop a review if you haven't done so already. If you have done so, congratulations. You are among the elite of the homies, and that makes you very special. You can put that on your resume.
Yeah.
And if you refuse to leave a review, that's okay. Your mom's a hoe.
Don't put that on your resume.
Yeah, don't put that on your resume. Yeah. But your mom cannot be a hoe if you simply leave a review. And if you leave a good review, then your mom is a really good, upstanding person who raised a wonderful child.
Yes.
Yeah.
Facts.
But that's going to be all for now. Homies, we will see you guys again very soon. But until then, my name is Superhero Homie Q.
And I'm Superhero Homie Caleb.